Think about a kangaroo in an egg and spoon race.
Mind-expanding sundown sporting discourse for witches, kebab van owners...
You want some chilli sauce with that?
...and washed-up burglars too fat to fit through your cat flap.
You great fat thieving lumper lad!
Cult listening worth staying awake for. Oh, I'm sorry, I'll read that again. Oh no, I was right the first time. The two mics on Talk Sport.
Look at the light!
Guess what I'm going to get my sister this year?
What?
I'm going to buy her a red telephone box for her back garden.
A red telephone box?
Yeah.
Why?
Yeah. It's a piece of British heritage.
Has it got a phone in it?
No, of course not. Well, don't be ridiculous. Of course I've got a phone in it. Why would I have a phone?
You give somebody a phone box without a phone in it?
Because I've told you it's a piece of British heritage. Tom Jones has got one in his back garden in California.
This is Talk Sport. We are the two mics. It's time to say a very, very good morning to Mr. Mike, Porky, Parry. Very good morning to you, Mr. Parry.
And a very good morning
Why
to
have you not
Mike.
got your headphones on?
Sorry?
What's going on? Why are you not ready?
So that was a bit of a panic at the last minute. I'm not ready because a lot of preparation for the show tonight. And by the way, I watched for the second time the programme that's going to feature in Porkyvision tonight. But I'll tell you what it is.
Okay.
I'll tell you what it is. But it was sensational.
You say you watched it twice?
I watched it twice.
Extraordinary.
Because it had an intricate plot, and I thought, well, I want to know every twist and turn of the plot, because I know that when I tell the audience about the devilment within this show, they're going to come back to me and say, no, you missed this twist.
You're not
or you
giving
missed
anything.
that
You're not going to be giving anything away.
I don't want to give anything away. Don't give anything away. Northern. I very much like Northern. I like Northern towns. I like Northern architecture.
Right, life in a Northern town.
Yeah, I like Northern accents.
Yeah.
Police. It's got to do with the police.
Okay.
I like police dramas as well if they're done properly.
It's
and all
not
that
Vera,
kind of
is
stuff. Not Vera. No, not Vera. No. Oh no, that's a deadbeat show.
A lot of people commented that you turned them onto that show and they really enjoyed it.
Oh, really? Well,
even though you didn't like it.
Yeah. How can you have any credibility for a detective chief inspector of the police who walks around in a coat?
You mean the police?
She looks like a bag woman that we used to see wandering around the streets of New York in the 80s and the 90s.
Very hard.
She's got a floppy hat, and she talks like this, love. No, come on, just admit.
Well, there was one guy.
Admit to
there was one guy that
being a
tweeted.
murderer.
There was one guy that tweeted that he was watching the show and he couldn't get you doing her out of his head while she was talking, which was horrendous.
No, come on, love.
Which was really horrendous.
You know, did you beat your wife to death because she put your dinner on the table the wrong way round? No, come on, you can tell me.
Yeah.
I'm Vera.
Yeah.
No, it's absolutely useless. But anyway, look, that's irrelevant. What I want to start the show with is a massive congratulations.
Yeah.
A massive bigging up.
Yeah.
Liverpool fans. I have to, because they have caused a revolution within the world of football. They have simply done it peaceful protest. You know that we talk about the nurses used to have a peaceful protest.
Yeah. Well, we had the doctors on strike
I was
yesterday.
about to say, the doctors at the moment are supposed to be having a peaceful protest, but it sounds rather noisy to me. Years ago...
Well, peaceful protest can be noisy. It's just not violent.
Yeah, well, no, I like...
Doesn't matter if it's... You mean you want a quiet protest?
I like a quiet protest. I like a quiet protest. You don't need a noisy protest.
Right.
And, for instance...
Because you're so quiet.
I am so quiet. Years ago, when nurses used to wear proper nurses' uniforms, you know, the sort of...
What?
You know, proper...
Why are you talking about nurses' uniforms?
Well, because I'm about to tell you the story behind this.
Right.
I mean, now, when I go to my hospital, Harefield, I have to go there occasionally because only 1/3 of my heart works.
Yeah, right.
And,
when was the last time you were there?
Well, I don't want to get into that.
Okay.
I don't want to boast about
How's Dr. Banner?
Dr. Banner's in great shape, thank
Let's
you.
get him on the show.
He can't talk in person. He can't talk individually on his patients, particularly when they're critically ill.
Yeah. Don't make him angry.
No. What I was going to say was, years ago, when nurses wore like nurses' uniforms, the sort of...
Well, they still wear nurses' uniforms.
No. They wear overalls now. They look more like plumbers.
What, you mean like the blue things?
They look more like they were in a
What are you
brace of
talking
bits.
about when they used to dress like they were on a Benny Hill show?
No. You're making it sexual. I'm not making it sexual.
That's what it sounds like.
No, I'm saying...
Like the black fishnet stockings and all that.
I'm not even getting into that. I'm not going where you're going. This is disgusting that you turn everything
how did they used to dress then?
You turn everything into potential Rogerisation.
Well, how did they used to dress in the 50s? Tell me.
They used to dress in the 50s in the same way as the nurses in Heartbeat, OK?
Heartbeat? I've never seen Heartbeat.
Well, in Heartbeat, which is another one up in Yorkshire, right, when they go around beating each other up and then up in hospital, the cops have to go and sit by the bedside of the dying man and all that kind of stuff.
Don't they have the little the watch on
their
they have
a little watch and they have a white hat.
Yeah.
Basically, it's a white hat.
It's like a pinny, isn't it?
It's like a pinny thing over a blue smock.
Right.
It's that sort of uniform, right? Now, and what they used to wear was, the nurses used to wear a cloak.
Yeah.
And actually, funny enough, I remember this very
like
well.
Call the Midwife type stuff.
Yeah, like Call the Mid. No, a bit more recent than that, but like a cloak. Now, when I was at the University of the Trent, we used to break into the nurses' home in Nottingham.
Yeah, you mentioned this.
Yeah, in pursuit of female company. We used to go in through the fire escape and all this kind of stuff.
Tradesman's entrance.
Yes. No, come on. No,
I'm just asking. I'm only asking.
I'm not going down that road.
All right.
And you see a lot of the nurses walking around in these cloaks. Now, the thing is, in those days...
Surely capes is the word you're looking for.
Yeah. In those days, what the nurses used to do is they used to stand outside the Houses of Parliament with one candle.
Right.
With a candle burning. It was called the silent protest.
Was it?
Now, I thought the Liverpool fans' protest was just as dignified as that. And in the sense of effectiveness, it was 100 times more effective.
Yeah, it seems to have been.
Because whilst you can ignore nurses because they don't make a lot of noise, they don't go around smashing up offices, they don't stop the trains running.
No, they're not very threatening.
They don't close down coal mines or anything like that. Football fans, when they walk out of a stadium, are making a point. And I have to say, I take my hat off to the Liverpool fans who have literally put a marker down
hang on a second. Didn't you say...
millions of football fans around the world.
Hang on, let me just pick you up on that. Didn't you say a few weeks ago, before any of this happened, before it was about to happen, that you did not in any way think walking out on your football team was a good idea?
No, I did not say that.
Yes, you did say that.
No, I did not say that.
I think you did.
You are confusing the position with the Manchester City fans at the weekend, who after going 3-0 down, I said I think it's pretty damn disgraceful that after the success that's been brought to their club in recent years by the investment from the Middle East gentlemen who've put billions of pounds into the club, I think it's shocking that when they suddenly get a downturn, those Manchester City fans walk out, and I described the ones who did as somewhat plastic.
Yes.
I did, however, pay tribute to the hundreds of thousands of Manchester City fans in England and around the world who have been long-term supporters
what I would hate,
and who are solid.
What I would hate is for you to just jump on this kind of populist bandwagon to try and make yourself even more popular by pretending to support Liverpool fans.
No.
When in fact, in the past, you've said anyone who boos their own team, anyone who walks out of any stadium is not a real supporter.
No, you see, I'm qualifying it again. If you boo your team at half-time and full-time in your own ground, I think that's bad. If you walk out on your team because you don't approve of the performance of the team, that is bad.
Yeah.
If, however, you get up and literally deprive yourself of the last, 77 minutes?
Deprive yourself of watching Sunderland equalising with 2 goals in the last 10 minutes.
Yes, if you deprive yourself of following your team for another 23 minutes, 77, 80, 13 minutes, you are actually at a self-sacrifice. You do that and it's effective, and, I mean, within 72 hours, the club have done a volte-face, a U-turn, and they've climbed down, and that means that other clubs now will think twice about trying to do it, including
the question
Borussia Dortmund, who received tennis balls in a volley.
Yeah, let them. That was a bit similar to sort of Spanish Armada scenario, isn't it?
It was.
Tennis balls.
Yeah.
But in the end, I mean, so what all you're saying really is that football teams can charge up to a certain amount of money, but after that amount of money, they can't charge any more.
I think
Liverpool are okay to charge 55 quid, but 77's too much.
Yeah, but I go beyond that, you see. Liverpool fans have put the marker down, and the marker now has put the focus on the prices you pay to go into football stadia.
Right.
And when every club is getting a minimum of £100 million next season, then we've got to get to the point where clubs should be volunteering to take the prices down.
Yeah.
Do you know what the percentage of income, revenue to a club that the tickets now represent compared to TV money?
No, tell me.
About 5%.
Yeah, it's very small.
Very small indeed.
But I've often said this in the past,
small.
that actually supporters, in a funny sort of way, are now less important to the revenue of a football club than they've ever been.
Oh, I totally agree.
So the idea that actually Liverpool have given in to this is even more astonishing, actually.
No, it's not. Do you know why, Mike?
Why?
Because to make football the spectacle it is on television, which is where they get the mass amount of their revenue, you have to have a wonderful atmosphere inside a football stadium.
I get
so
that.
You've got to have fans there. Now, let me just give you a little example of the economics, right?
Yeah,
if I pay £1,800 for my Everton season ticket, £300 of which is VAT, so say 1.5, so 1,500 goes to the club, okay?
Right.
So I'm one fan paying £1,500 per season. Now, the minimum wage for a decent player at Everton, I would guess, is 40,000. So how many 1.5s in 40,000?
Hey?
It's about 10, 11, 12, 24. It's about 24.
Okay.
24 1.5s.
Yeah.
So that means 24 season ticket holders in an executive lounge like mine who pay for their season tickets are only paying for the salary of the lowest paid Everton player for 1 week of the season.
Yeah.
That's the economics of football these days.
Sure.
So why would you want to pump up my season ticket by 10%, not that Everton are, by the way, or 20% or anything? You should reduce the season ticket prices, reduce the prices for the seats, take the TV money with relish, produce greater football in a stadium with great atmosphere, and football will flourish. It's called...
But in the end, surely, I mean, it's a fair price for what you're actually going to see. And people often
I'm not sure it is.
People often compare it to, going to see the opera, going to see the movies.
I'm not sure about
going
this.
to see, going to see, I don't know, a play in the West End.
Well, hang on.
Going to see any number of different things. Going to see a concert. Do you know how much I paid for U2 tickets last year?
No, tell me.
£200.
Yeah, but that's U2.
Yeah, but, that's a concert which lasts marginally longer than a football game.
Yeah, I agree. But U2 don't play every week.
No, they don't.
At the O2.
No, but if they did play, they do play every week. If you want to go and follow them around the world.
Yeah, but you've got to follow them around the world. They don't play in the same place every week.
But you don't get a discount for watching them more than once.
Well, let me put it to you this way. I, as you know, am multicultural, right?
Are you?
Now, next week, I've been invited to the premiere night of The War of the Worlds, which is a new spectacular West End production.
Is this the Jeff Lynne thing?
Jeff Wayne, actually.
Jeff Wayne,
yeah. Jeff Wayne. And I'll tell you who's in it. Do you know, we were talking the other night about what happened to Jimmy Nail?
Oh, yeah.
Jimmy Nail's in it.
Jimmy Nail's in it?
Yeah.
Oh, you better not go to that, then.
And David Essex.
He was slagging him off the other day.
Jimmy Nail, David Essex.
It's in the time, by the way.
I'll meet all these guys after the show, by the way.
Are you going to go, eh?
Oh, well, what I'm saying is, now the cost of a ticket there could be as high as £125, OK?
Yeah.
But even that... does not match what I'm paying for my season ticket in executive box at Everton. You see what I mean?
Right.
So the simile is that they're very much the same. West End spectacular.
Yeah, but you can't expect, by the same token, you can't expect football clubs to start, undercutting themselves to the extent that they're so frightened of charging any money at all.
They're not undercutting themselves.
They charge you, like half that.
No, what they should now be saying is there would be no football club without fans. If 40,000 fans in 1912 hadn't gathered on a field just outside Liverpool to watch Everton Football Club, there wouldn't be an Everton.
Yeah.
You see what I mean? So I think the people who own the clubs these days have got to remember that. The fans are the most important part of any club. That's my view. I'm sticking with it, OK?
Well, all right. Well, we've run out of time already. James says this. 5 minutes into the show, Porky's outraged by nurses' outfit talk, and there was no nurses in Heartbeat, he says. #plank.
No, there were nurses in Heartbeat.
He says there weren't any.
Oh, there were.
Really?
Lots of times, Nick, the cop, the guy who used to be in EastEnders, right? He would rough somebody up and they'd end up in hospital and he'd have to go and sort of apologise by the bedside and all that kind of stuff.
Oh, all right. Yeah. OK, well, anyway, listen, we've got lots of things to do. We've got a young man...
Think Emergency Ward 10.
Emergency Ward 10.
Emergency Ward 10.
Yeah, OK.
That's what
that was America,
used to look like.
That was in America, wasn't it?
No, it wasn't, you idiot. It was here.
Was it?
Yeah, it started on the same day as Coronation Street.
A bit before my time.
Didn't last as long.
This is Talk Sport.
This Sunday from noon, exclusive national radio commentary of Arsenal versus Leicester, followed by Villa versus Liverpool, Barclays Premier League live.
Coming out a little bit later on this morning, it's also Porkyvision tonight as well. We've been given a little flavour of that. It's going to be very complex.
No, it's going to be very clear about a complex issue.
Oh, OK. Well,
very
it's about
detailed.
something complex.
Yes,
OK.
yes.
Here's one from Lord Rallo, who's obviously fallen for your
Lord
populist
Rallo.
nonsense.
Yeah.
Old Porky proving tonight he's the man of the people.
Man of the people.
With his LFC protest support. Old MG, not so much.
Yeah.
Well, excuse me, Lord Rallo. All I'm asking you is to consider for a moment the situation which we are facing. And what it is that there are lots of football clubs like Liverpool who are perfectly entitled to charge money as per the going rate for whatever it is that they sell and whatever it is the service that they provide.
In fairness, because of your domestic responsibilities, you perhaps don't go to as many football matches as I do.
No, I don't.
So maybe you're not as close to the real football fan as I am.
Well,
maybe
I haven't paid to go to... I have paid to go to a football match.
Yes.
I took my son to Chelsea
a
couple of seasons ago.
Yes.
And I thought it was a very reasonable price. I think I paid £55 for myself and him to go and sit very, very close to Jose Mourinho's dugout. And I thought that's fair enough.
Do you know how much we're paying to go to Bournemouth a week on Saturday?
No idea.
I'm not going to tell you.
Right, OK.
Right. OK.
What do you mean when you say we? What do you mean? I thought I wasn't paying. I thought you were treating me.
No, I'm not, no.
Oh, right. Well, we're paying?
We're paying,
Well, when are you giving me the bill for this?
Sorry?
You're giving me a bill for this, are you?
Well, I mean, unless you've suddenly registered yourself as a state charity, it is normal that when you go to somewhere and sit in a seat and watch a football match, you pay for it.
Well, we never normally do.
You expect me to pay for it?
Well, we never normally pay for it. What are you talking about?
That's a bit harsh, isn't it?
Well, we don't normally pay to go and see football together.
Well, I've insisted that
You've insisted on paying?
Oh, yes.
Well, if you've insisted on paying, then you should pay.
We've been invited to Bournemouth for the Everton game in the FA Cup, and I have insisted we will pay our way.
Well, I didn't insist on paying my way.
So you're saying you want me to pay for you?
I think you should pay for me, yeah.
Why?
I'll buy you dinner if you like, but I'm not paying for the ticket.
Why?
Because I don't want to go and see Bournemouth Everton.
But you've accepted the invitation to come.
Yeah, because it was an invitation. It wasn't like, why don't you come and see Bournemouth Everton and pay through the nose for it.
You've also accepted an invitation to come to my sister's 7-bedroom house.
Do I have to pay her for that as well?
For an hour of bladderation prior to going to the game.
Do I have to pay her as well?
No, of course not. You know, they're very hospitable.
Well, I assumed you were inviting me.
And you still don't want to put your hand in your pocket.
I will put my hand in my pocket for anything you want, but I'm not paying for the ticket. You've invited me. I'll buy dinner, I'll buy breakfast, I'll buy lunch, I'll buy a drink at the ground, I'll buy anything you like. But generally speaking, if you invite somebody to something, you stump up the money.
I'm not sure I'll get through this show.
Let's talk to Scott, who's over in Southampton. Scott, very good morning to you.
Good morning, guys. How you doing?
Yeah, very well indeed.
You've
got quite an interesting point to make about price increases, right?
Yeah, but firstly, are you going to invite me to any of this?
Well,
be careful, because if he invites you, you'll have to pay as well.
Yeah, well, you know,
I don't mind paying.
Paying is something which is alien to old MG. Scott, make your point to us, please.
Well, where do I start? These stadiums, they hold quite a lot of fans, but they don't hold all the fans. And this rise in prices allows a bit of seat rotation, ticket prices, a rise in the ticket prices. I mean, you get a rise in the number of fans getting the opportunity to share the experience in the stadium.
Yeah, but aren't you pricing out those who've been very loyal? Hang on, excuse me, let me finish. Aren't you pricing out those who've been very loyal to the club for decades?
No, I don't believe so. If they get to go 10 times a season instead of 15 times a season, they still get to share the experience with all the other fans.
Hang on, are you a regular football fan yourself, Scott?
Yeah, I don't follow a team in the Premiership, but I love to watch.
Okay, that's fine.
Every week,
that's fine. That's fine.
I really enjoy it.
Yeah, I'm not.
I'll go to all the stadiums and different stadiums and watch different teams play, and I appreciate what goes on in these stadiums. I really do.
Okay, now Scott, that's good, and I'm not putting that down. That's fine, but you have to understand that some people run their lives by their football clubs. Largely speaking, it's in place of religion. It has a huge effect on the way that their life is shaped, and they want to go every week because they've been going every week for the last 20 years or the last 25
hang
years.
on a second. Well, what if,
they want to take their children?
What if, for example, yeah, exactly. You're absolutely right. Scott, I think Scott and I are on the same page here. Yeah. What if, for example, yes, they want to do that. What if the cost of transportation to take them and their kids goes up by fourfold, which you can often do? Are they supposed to then go? Well, it can do. Are they supposed to then go to the train company and say, you're depriving me of my right to go and see my football team? No, you must, reduce the price.
You've got to run your own lives and allocate your own, family budget, your domestic budget, your social budget to that you want to go and spend it on. I understand that. But what I'm saying is, I think that when the price exceeds what most people can afford, the people who are being squeezed out are those who've been the long-standing loyal fans, to be replaced, in my view, by a lot of Johnny-come-latelys who've jumped on the football bandwagon over the last 5 or 10 years. Football grounds have never...
Harsh, guys. Come on.
No, Scott, don't you think? Hang on a sec. Don't you think that Mike Parry is just now sort of, banging the populist drum and trying to sort of, ingratiate himself with lots of football fans who might agree with him? But actually, in the real world, it doesn't work like that.
Well, in the real world, we can't always have what we want all the time. And
Exactly.
I think in the real world, it's nice to share experiences with others. Otherwise, you just have it to yourself.
Hang on, Scott. What are you, some sort of Methodist lay preacher? Let's share all these experiences with others. Oh, come on. Let's be happy, clapper football fans. Hey!
Well, what are you? You're some kind of socialist now.
Let's all sit there and sing, hey, Everton, we love you. Sorry?
I want to be able to take my son or my daughter to one of those teams' stadiums and enjoy the day and the whole environment and the atmosphere. I don't want to have to...
Well, Scott, you are...
Let him speak.
Yeah, he is speaking. But, Scott...
Don't interrupt him.
I think that you are an unusual football fan, that you don't seem to have a loyalty to one club.
What's unusual about that?
To me, that makes you a bit of a dilettante fan.
Not true. Rubbish.
I don't just watch one TV channel either, I like to enjoy everything in life, and I think that's what it gives some of the fans an opportunity to enjoy bits of all the teams and go and pay a little bit more to have that one attendance at that one stadium in the season.
I think
that's what I think people are missing as well.
I think your attitude is airy-fairy-ish, to be honest. I think you're floating all over the place. I think you're a new age football fan.
Scott, you're completely correct, Scott, and I agree with you. And as you know, I'm the voice of reason on this show, so you never get Parry to agree, because Parry has now got this drum that he's beating that he thinks is going to make him more popular with more people, and that's why he's doing it.
Scott, if I were you, mate, I'd get off to Stonehenge for the summer solstice and join a few of the other sort of, we love the land type druids, because it sounds to me like that's where you're coming from. Thank you very much indeed for calling the show.
Thank you very much indeed, Scott. Let's have a word with Mike, who's a Coventry fan. Oh, no, he's a Man United fan.
Yeah.
But, he's in Coventry. Hello, Mike.
Good evening, how are you doing?
Yeah,
we're doing very well,
what
mate.
Would you like
Thank
to
you.
say?
Oh, I want to completely disagree with that last caller. I'm a season ticket holder at Manchester United.
Good man.
I'm a working class supporter. I drive a truck 5 nights a week.
Good.
What difference does it make what kind of class you are?
What I'm trying to say is it's meant to be the working class game, isn't it?
Well, no, of course it's not a working class game. It's a game of football. It doesn't have to be a class game of any kind.
Excuse me, Mike. Can I just answer that question for you, Mike? The reason that you told us you're a truck driver, you're a working class man, is because you are pointing out the level of budget you can afford to spend on your season ticket.
Manchester United are about to pay Jose Mourinho £15.5 million a year.
Yeah.
Real working class game, that.
Listen, Mike, how much do you pay for your season ticket, pal?
I pay £532 a year.
See, that's a lot of money, that. I bet you that's a week's wages for you.
That's £10 a week.
It's more than a week's wages to me at the moment.
That's £10 a week.
Well, yeah, but you
That's
don't...
£10 a week.
Yes, but you don't go to the game every week, do you?
It's £10 a week.
You do not go to the game every week, you
Yeah,
dolt.
but it's the equivalent of putting away £10 a week.
No, I'm sorry. Yeah, well, it may be, but I mean, he's got to look after his family.
I
and
think
his
that's a
children
very
and everything
reasonable
else.
amount of money.
Mike, would you not say to me that Manchester United, being as they are the biggest attraction in football in the world, drawing in money for things like business partner to Manchester United with sellotape, business partner to Manchester United with half-time prawn sandwiches. Wouldn't you think
They do all that.
Yeah, they do all that. Wouldn't you think they earn enough money from that to be able to give you, the working class man, the salt of the earth supporter,
Here we go.
the salt of the earth supporter, to give you some easement on your season ticket price?
To be fair, I've got to back United up on this one. United season ticket prices have been frozen now for a number of years.
Excellent.
And to be fair, we are one of the cheapest in the Premier League.
Yes.
I've got to back United up on that. But I back the Liverpool fans doing what they did because it's getting out of hand.
Of course it is.
Yeah, but at what point, Mike, hang on, at what point, Mike, does it get out of hand? I mean, you're happy to pay £536 a year, whatever it is. At what point does it get out of hand? When it goes to £650, when it goes to £750, when it goes to £10.50? I mean, when?
Personally, I think £30 a game for the average man like myself is enough. I pay £28 a game now.
Yeah, that's enough. Mike, that's enough.
You can pay more.
You make a massive contribution.
Why don't you let him speak?
You make a massive contribution, Mike.
I think, to be fair, what United have done is okay. You can pay more if you can afford more. I can't. That's my limit.
But, I mean, lots of people can afford to buy very, very nice houses. Do you want to make houses all the same price? Do you want to make cars all the same price? You some kind of communist?
No, not at all, mate.
What a stupid question, Mike. You don't have to answer that one, honestly. You really don't. You see,
that's the area we're now delving into. I'm happy that Liverpool fans have got what they want. Okay, I was actually the one in support of them when you weren't.
I think your attitude,
now that you're jumping all over them, saying that you're a great sort of man of the people.
Your attitude to Mike was disgraceful.
Not at all.
That man.
Not at all. You're not a socialist, are you?
That man is the corn. He is the seed of football. He is the corn and the seed of the football supporter in this country.
Yeah, but fortunately, what I'm here to do,
there would be no harvest of football greatness in this country.
What I'm here to do is to puncture your balloon of pomposity. That's all it is.
I don't think you can.
This is Talk Sport.
Make sure you're ahead of the game and listen to Kick-Off on Talk Sport with 888 Sport. Bet you can. Tonight from 7, get in-depth analysis, heavyweight pundit opinion, and outspoken fan reaction on the nation's most passionate pre-match football forum.
You won't miss a trick, flick, or kick of any of the action.
Plus, hear the latest form and odds ahead of all the matches that matter from 888 Sport's On The Ball Bet Spurt. Kick-Off, weeknights from 7 on Talk Sport with 888 Sport. Bet you can. Please gamble responsibly.
The kitchen has changed, and with up to 40% off a selection of ready-to-fit Wix kitchens, you can enjoy a new one in no time. Plus cabinets from as little as £25 and worktops from £35. Is it time to change yours? Wix. Let's do it right. For offer details, visit wix.co.uk.
The new BMW 118i M Sport 5-door sports hatch. Monthly rentals from £259 per month. Pure BMW. £4,199 initial rental. 36-month hire agreement from BMW Financial Services. Subject to status and availability for new vehicles ordered by 31st of March and registered by 30th of June 2016. UK only, guarantees may be required. Mileage and other conditions apply when you return the vehicle.
FA Cup review on Talk Sport with Regain for Men. Facts, not fiction.
This is Talk Sport. We are the two Mikes. Coming up later on in the show, it's Porkyvision, of course, the greatest TV review you'll ever hear, and we've been intrigued by what's going to be on it. Also, of course, we've got one of our regular guests coming on, Lisa Daly, to talk about Valentine's Day. There will be a podcast, of course, coming out in the morning.
Podcast,
Mr. Parry.
Podcast.
Yes.
I'm sorry, I forgot to remind you.
Yeah.
I forgot to remind you. The podcast chart at Talk Sport's been published.
Yes.
We are top.
I know, isn't it brilliant?
By a mile.
By 2.3 million downloads.
2.2 million downloads.
Extraordinary number.
And now averaging 250,000 a month.
Yeah.
Which we are...
Not bad, is it?
Well, we're incredibly pleased about it.
Yeah.
And
not bad for a pair of old gits.
Exactly. Well, speak for yourself, will you? I'm an intellectual and a serious broadcaster. Just want to say, folks out there, for everybody who downloads it, well, just thank you for joining it. And we are delighted to have you on board with us.
We couldn't do it without you.
We couldn't do it without you, and we'll keep doing it, honestly, I promise you. And those numbers will grow and grow and grow.
Yeah. Absolutely right. Now, we're not going to keep arguing about working class, middle class, upper class and all the rest of it.
Exactly.
But what we are going to do right now is we're going to talk to Sean St. Ledger, a former Peterborough player, of course, former Leicester City defender as well.
Yes.
Peterborough were just pipped at the post last night.
At the post.
Live on Talk
Penalty
Sport
shootout.
by West Brom. And it was a bit of a gut-wrencher, actually, if you were a fan of what I would regard as the romance of the FA Cup. Sean, a very good morning to you. Welcome.
How are you? You okay?
Yeah, very well
good,
indeed. It was sort of a victory, sort of snatched away really by that last minute penalty miss, wasn't it?
Yeah, of course. Yeah. I actually went to watch Peterborough play against Barton when I was back in England.
Right.
And they did real well then, and obviously they've took West Brom to obviously penalties, and they look like they're playing some real good stuff, and obviously unfortunate to lose on penalties. I think when it comes to penalties, it's just pot luck, really. You know?
Well, it is, yeah. But I mean, would you say? I mean, is it easier for a Premier League team to win on penalties than it is, say, for a League One team? I mean, I know that's a stupid question, but presumably, you know, the Premier League footballers are better at penalties than League One players.
That's a tough one. I'm not really sure. I think it's whatever players basically have the bottle and that kind of thing. I would say really I've took a couple of penalties in cup competitions before, and I suppose when you're the team who's playing the Premier League team, there's probably more pressure on you in the penalties because you've got that far. But the Premier League team's penalties, there's probably more pressure on you with the penalties. You're at home as well. It's a difficult one to answer, I would say.
Right.
Nevertheless, it's it's such a special game, isn't it? When an FA Cup tie in particular is decided in that sort of way, because all the hopes and aspirations and dreams of glory dissipated by one kick of a ball.
Yeah, without doubt. There's been a couple of times I've obviously, like I said, I've took penalties, and before when you put your hand up to take the penalty, you're like, take it, and then you start walking towards it, and
exactly.
Starts setting in.
That's right. Your stomach starts fluttering, butterflies, all that kind of stuff. And can you control your emotions? And at that moment, you step up and you strike the ball. Oh, no, it's at the post. Yeah. And then you become a villain. Yeah, absolutely.
Right. Now, you used to play for Leicester, Sean. You must be quite amazed at their progress this season. Can you believe it?
It's unbelievable. I went to watch the Man City game at home, and just speaking to a few of the lads after it, they've just said, that they've worked really hard as a team, and then they've had two players who have been on fire, and Vardy and Maurice have kind of took the team onto the next level. But I don't think you can take away from what everyone's done in the squad. You look at Wes, who stepped up from the Championship, and I think you look through their team, it's solid. They probably haven't got the household names you expect that would win the Premier League, but they're all working for each other. And this game, I think at the weekend, could make or break them, really.
Right, absolutely right. Who do you fancy to win the FA Cup, Sean?
I'm going to say Arsenal.
Arsenal. Okay. Well, they got Hull coming up in the next round, so you may well be right. Sean St. Ledger, thank you very much indeed.
Thank you very much indeed.
It was a very, very exciting game last night. I thought Peter were going to win it at one point.
Yeah.
But let me read you out some tweets here.
Right, come on,
Rossi
let's get
says
into
this,
them.
double standards from Porky tonight. Rowan says, there's nothing wrong with that casual fan who just loves the game rather than a particular team. Mike Graham talking sense as per usual.
Oh, as per
Woodenhead
usual.
says, would it be the same situation if Sky Sports raised their package prices, I wonder? Well, that's the other thing. I mean,
they have
Sky
done over the
have been
years.
putting their prices up over the years, and nobody's suddenly gone, they're pricing me out of the market. No. Football's a working class game. I mean, if I hear that phrase one more time, I'm going to strangle somebody.
Why?
I mean, because look at the back pages of the papers today.
Yes.
As I keep saying to you, Jose Mourinho is about to be made, if we are to believe the stories that have now been running for a good 48 hours, the richest manager in the history of football. He's going to be paid £15.5 million a year
I thought
by
Pep
Manchester
Guardiola
United.
got more than that.
Pep Guardiola gets 15 million, right? This is deliberately set so that the United are paying more than City. 15.5 million quid a year.
Yeah.
Are you seriously telling me that football is a working class game?
Oh,
Do
very
me a
much so.
favour.
Of course it is.
Do me a favour.
Of course it is.
Jim says this. He's texted in. Porky is an absolute hypocrite, changing his stance to suit whatever he thinks will make him more liked and popular.
That's outrageous.
Porky, you're like a straw in a gale. Just grow a backbone, man.
Well, I mean, that's outrageous. You see, they only say that because you wind the people up.
Not
you wind
true.
up our audience.
Not true.
Everybody knows that I speak for the common man.
No, you don't.
And yet all you do is go around pointing out that I've been clever in my investments in my life and therefore enjoy the benefit of a reasonable lifestyle. A reasonable lifestyle. You know, I'm not some sort of guy who's swanning around in Aston Martin, living in penthouses on the banks of the River Thames or anything like that.
You've got many properties, haven't you?
But I have an investment portfolio.
Right.
Doesn't everybody?
No, everybody doesn't, no.
Well, lots
everybody
of people
doesn't have a boat sitting off the coast of East Anglia.
Oh, come on.
Not everybody has a brand new £43,000 Mercedes. Not everybody.
I need it for work.
No, really. Russell says this. He's got new Mercedes, several properties, boats and staff. A box at Everton, hashtag man of the people, hashtag plank.
Well, this is all so harsh, you see, but people only write in venomous terms like that because you wind them up to do it.
Not at all.
I think it's a damn disgrace.
Because what they know is that they've listened to you for the last couple of years, and they've listened to you maybe for even longer than that, and you've got a very well-known view of people who you regard as failures in life. For example, people who were born in Hartlepool and die in Hartlepool. For example, people who don't ever manage to better themselves in their job.
I don't know where you get all this from.
People who are not ambitious in life. People who drive cars that you regard as not very good.
I don't know
people,
you can talk like
who
this.
don't travel first class. People who don't manage to make enough money to go to the opera or go to a nice restaurant. You are a snob of the highest order. So the idea that you're suddenly now pretending to be a man of the people.
Sorry, I forgot to remind the audience that we are going to Bournemouth, obviously, a week on Saturday. You're coming.
We are. Well, you've invited me there, but I didn't know that I was supposed to, cough up half the money.
Are we going to the Crystal Palace game then at Crystal Palace?
I think we are, in
April.
I think we are. Yeah. We've been invited to that game, right?
Yes, we have been individually.
You're not going to ask me to pay for that as well?
I'm not going to ask you to pay for anything unless you want to pay for it, because you've been invited individually, and so have I. Are you going to take up that invitation?
I'm planning to, yeah.
And I hope you will be recompensing the club for your seat and all that, will you?
I'm sure I will be.
You will be.
Well, if they want me to.
Oh, if they want me to.
My understanding
is... You're not going to volunteer it then?
Well, no.
You're going to take all the food and drink and not give anything back?
Well, no, I'll give something back by being there and giving you the pleasure of my company.
That's what they think about that, folks.
No, that's what they want. What do you mean, what do they think about that, folks? That's me being honest.
He thinks his presence is so necessary and so required that people should ply him with drink and food to be there. What kind of a fan can you describe yourself as?
I'm not a fan of Crystal Palace, but I enjoy going to Crystal Palace.
And
I think it's a great club.
Football fan.
I think it's a great club.
You haven't got a team that you support.
Not particularly.
You are, how you feel yourself qualified to talk on the virtues, the character and the discipline of the common working man.
It's got nothing to do with working men.
I am honestly, I'm exasperated. Exasperated.
Yeah, but at least I don't pretend to be something that I'm not.
Well, I don't pretend to be anything.
No, you do.
Not.
You're pretending to be a working man. You're pretending to be working class.
I work, therefore I'm a working class person.
Absolute
rubbish. No, I'm sorry.
Absolute utter cobleros.
I'm not having it any other way.
Yeah, you work, therefore you're a working man.
Yes, that's right, yes.
Here's one from Cy. It says, what makes you middle class? How much have you got to earn? All this class stuff is a load of old nonsense.
Load of baloney, I agree.
And I think that's absolutely true. So why do you keep repeating the phrase working man?
Well, because it's a stock expression. You know,
no, it's not.
There's 50 million of us in this country, working people,
rubbish.
Men and women.
That's not true.
By the way, some of the stories on tomorrow morning's back pages say that if Jose does go to Manchester United, there will be an instant revolution. Old Trafford squad split over Mourinho. Manchester United squad in a split over the prospect of Jose Mourinho taking over. It also says another story. He's going to sell Mata and Marianne Fellaini.
Marianne?
On day one.
Yeah, well, I mean, if anyone wants to say to Jose Mourinho, we don't want you here, and he comes in as manager, I don't think there's going to be one winner in that conversation, is there?
I think so.
This is Talk Sport.
The Alan Brazil Sports Breakfast on Talk Sport with the new Ford Ranger. It's the breakfast show that's always ready to take on any challenge.
Join me, Alan Brazil, and a different co-host every weekday morning from 6 a.m. as we tackle all the big stories of the day.
The Alan Brazil Sports Breakfast. Weekday mornings from 6 on Talk Sport with the new Ford Ranger. Ruthlessly tested across the harshest terrain on Earth. Find out more at ford.co.uk.
Mum?
Yes, love?
I've got something to ask you.
Go on.
Will you...
Yes?
Will you be my guarantor for an Amigo loan so I can buy a car? I can't get a loan from the bank, but as long as I can afford the repayments and have a guarantor, Amigo will help me out.
Of course, love. I'd be more than happy to be your guarantor, but only on one condition.
What's that?
You'll need to run me down the bingo every Thursday.
To apply, you must be 18 or over, not bankrupt, and be able to afford repayments. A guarantor is required who must pay if you can't. Representative 49.9% APR variable. To borrow up to £5,000, go to amigoloans.co.uk today.
On digital radio and 1089 and 1053 AM. Talk Sport.
It's all about the money. It's all about the dum-dum-da-da-dum-dum. I don't think it's funny.
This is Talk Sport. We are the two mics. Loads coming up in the next hour. We've got lots and lots of different stories to talk about. A couple more tweets to read out just to finish off this particular hour. VHP from Australia says, MG is spot on and that plank Porky is such a snake and a hypocrite. No one should be allowed to monopolise a season ticket.
It's a dreadful thing to say about me.
What about us fans who can't get a ticket to see our beloved team because of the selfish fans who think only they count?
Well,
and that's true.
I'm on the side of the working man.
How about this? Jack in Essex says, football is the global game. The beautiful thing about it is that it is loved by people from every background. How is it right to attempt to exclude anyone who you perceive to be anything other than working class? Porky, you are great, but you are a massive hypocrite. You go on and on about your ambition to socialise among the wealthy and how anyone with a penny less than yourself is a down and out. You then call yourself the man of the people. Make your mind up. Football is for everyone, no matter who they are. Class is irrelevant. I think that's the tweet of the night.
A bit harsh. There's one here from Nathan. He says, I'm a Shrewsbury fan and I can't afford £21 for every week. Does that make me a casual fan or working class?
Yeah. Or should he go to Shrewsbury and say, I demand that you reduce the ticket price to a tenner? What would be your advice to him?
Well, I think for those who are in the lowest strata of society, we have to make provisions in football to make sure they have access to the ground.
Give them some free tickets then?
Yeah, I think we should.
You turned it to Jeremy Corbyn overnight.
What?
Eh?
No.
Jeremy Corbyn.
No,
You've suddenly gone socialist on me.
I just want to look after the people.
Really?
Being a man of the people. I think you've got to,
You can't sustain this position.
You can't give away your roots.
Really?
You can't give away your roots.
Right. I can't see your roots anyway, but not from here. This is Talk Sport. We are the two mics.
It's customised Maseratis, orange ladies and glow-in-the-dark Nashers as Kickoff, the Players' Lounge, opens its doors. No, sorry, mate. There's absolutely no way I can let you in. That suit's nowhere near shiny enough, and your watch isn't regulation Players' Lounge size. It needs to be at least as big as a dinner plate. This Friday night from 7, join Matt Holland and a VIP ex-pro guest presenter as they give an exclusive insight into the weekend's big games with some of football's biggest names. Kickoff, the Players' Lounge, Friday night from 7 on Talk Sport. Hey you, no chance pal, that air gel's casual.
What's this all about then?
No, you know who that is, don't you?
Yeah, I do, yeah. It's the Floyd, man.
Floyd. And who's the lead guitarist in Floyd?
Is it Dave Gilmour?
Gilmour, right? So Gilmour lives down in the Brighton enclave where lots of famous people live, okay?
Yeah, it's not working class,
no, it's not working class. But what happens is, people like Paul McCartney walk around there and all that kind of stuff, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So this young lady who's got this fantastically successful website called Zoella, right?
Zoella?
She's called a beauty vlogger. That's VLOWER. And what happens is she puts out all sorts of beauty information to...
A video blog.
Yeah, video blog to young girls, how to apply makeup and all that kind of stuff. And there's nothing seedy about it whatsoever. whatever. It's extremely successful and all that kind of stuff. Anyway, she commissions a picture and asks a photographer to go and get a random person walking along the beach with his dog.
Right.
And she calls it Random Man.
Okay.
So she publishes this picture and says, Random Man, and the whole caption about the picture is, a man, a lonely man on a beach with his dog, who knows who this man is.
Right.
And then millions of people send messages saying...
Was it Dave Gilmour?
Actually, it's Dave Gilmour, one of the world's most famous guitarists from Pink Floyd, and a legend in many people's lives.
Well, it just goes to show how some people just don't recognise talent when they see it, doesn't it?
Exactly, yeah. Well, I have that problem all the time.
But isn't that funny? Because if you saw her walking down the street, presumably you'd have no idea who she was either.
No idea at all. I mean, young girls might have, because she's a bit of a heroine to them, for this website. But I find that so amusing. I mean, you accused me once of not recognising Will Ferrell.
That's true. Well, it wasn't you didn't recognise him. It wasn't you didn't recognise him. You'd never heard of him.
No, well, I kind of had, yeah.
Well, you know, but you wouldn't have recognised him if you'd walked past him in the corridor.
No, I wouldn't. I wouldn't actually. No. Yeah. And what we were doing was his new film we were plugging, wasn't it?
We were, yeah. Well, him and Mark Wahlberg were putting out a movie at the time, which was a little police comedy type film.
Is he in Zoolander 2?
Who?
Will Ferrell.
Will Ferrell, I think so, yeah.
I think he is, because that's a very funny film. Zoolander 1 was very funny. It was on again the other night. I don't know why. I watched it over the weekend.
You haven't seen Zoolander 2,
No, of course I haven't, because it's not out yet. But Zoolander 1 was... I love that look on...
You like Zoolander?
What's Zoolander actor's name?
Which one?
The guy who plays Zoolander.
Ben Stiller.
Ben Stiller, yeah. And that look on his face, the pouch, And the funniest moment is something...
See, I didn't think that would be the sort of film you would like.
Well, I don't know why. I was in New York once when it first came out, whenever that was, 10 years ago or something.
Yeah, probably more.
Yeah, and I went to I loved going to the pictures in New York. I love the old big armchairs, getting the old popcorn and all that kind of stuff, And I watched it not knowing much about it, and I thought it was a fantastic film. But there was a scene in it in which you would apportion to me now.
Yeah.
And what happens is, this is in the original Zoolander film, they're all at the awards for Male Model of the Year. And old Zoolander has won it for the previous 3 years.
Yeah.
So he's just sitting there at the table, the world's going around him, you're not paying any attention, and then the guy gets up, opens the and the winner is...
And he's expecting to be him,
Of course, but it's not him, it's the blonde-haired guy,
right.
It was his nemesis,
Owen Wilson.
Owen Wilson, that's right, thank you, yeah. So, but this goes in one ear and out of Zoolander's other ear, and he just gets up on the table and strolls forward with his mincing sort of walk, towards the stage, and he takes it, and then suddenly the picture of Owen Wilson comes up on the screen behind him.
And he realises he hasn't won.
And it ruins his life.
Yeah.
It wrecks his life.
Right.
He actually gives up, goes back to Pennsylvania.
Yeah, I can imagine that's the way it would affect you.
And gets a coal miner's job with his father. But after one day in the coal mine, he goes to the doctor to complain he's got black lung, which usually takes about 20 years of working in a coal mine, and retires from being a coal miner. But I just thought it was great. Anyway, I just thought I'd tell you about that.
That is very funny.
Because, of course, I did not recognise one of the world's most famous rugby players.
I mean, of course. I mean, we've talked about that as well, haven't we?
Dave.
Dave, what was his name?
Dave.
You still can't remember, can you?
No, I can't. Dave.
Dave what? Come on.
Dave,
come on.
He's Australian.
Yeah, he's Australian. Come on. And you see him in the green and gold.
Green and gold, and he did the goose step
David
walk.
starts with C.
Dave Campese.
There you go.
Campese, thank you.
Go.
Yeah.
So is that right? If I give you a letter to start the guy's name, you'll actually remember it?
Yeah, well,
but I mean, if you walk past Dave Gilmour or indeed Roger Waters, I don't suppose you'd recognise them.
I'd recognise the drummer. What's his name?
The drummer?
The drummer.
The drummer for Pink Floyd?
Yeah.
I don't know. What's his name?
Well, that is the guy you've just mentioned, isn't it?
Roger Waters is a guitarist.
Oh, he's a guitarist,
and
okay.
Dave Gilmour as well.
Dave Gilmour's a guitarist.
Yeah.
Well, the drummer is a guy who likes vintage cars.
Is he?
Yes. I've seen him in racing gear and all that kind of stuff. But I've done a couple of, those charity days we used to do for 9/11 and all that. He came to a couple of those. Had long conversations with him about playing the drums. He's better than playing the drums. He writes music and all that kind of stuff.
Right.
I've forgotten
But
his
you can't
name.
remember his name.
No, somebody will tell me who the Pink Floyd drummer is.
Sure
he's very
will.
famous. I thought you'd know.
Well, I probably should know, but I can't think of his name.
Yeah, anyway.
I'm getting as bad as you now.
Yeah, right. Now, what I want to talk to you about is the situation involving the fact that, because we were talking football in the first hour, Arsenal fans are going back to Barcelona, right?
Yes, they are.
It's the Nou Camp, because it's a two-legged thing, isn't it?
Hey, so Gary Neville didn't do too badly last night, did he?
Well, he got 1-1 draw, so it was 8-1 on aggregate.
But it wasn't 8-1 on aggregate,
But listen, did you know?
Go on.
Did you know that because, actually, and Gary Neville's team might have had a part in this, Spanish football fans are now getting out of control, and when the Arsenal fans go there, they're going to be caged.
Oh, really?
Caged.
Well, they're putting fences back in.
Yeah.
Why?
Well, because the fans are now so badly behaved in the new camp that they throw from the top tier missiles, but they don't reach the pitch and they fall on the people below.
So presumably they'll be way up in the gods, won't they? Because one of the,
the back.
The one time I've been to the new camp was to see an El Clasico game, and it was famously when Jose Mourinho poked old Tito Villanova in the eye, which everybody said was a terrible thing that he did.
I remember
melee at the end of the game.
Remember that,
and it was I think it was a cup game actually.
Yeah.
And I was sitting with some guys who were from Barcelona, the club itself. And I said, how many tickets?
What, some officials from Barcelona?
Yeah, from Barcelona. Yeah, that was
how I see. So you're with the prawn sandwich
No,
brigade,
I wasn't.
then?
No, I'd paid for the ticket, but I'd got the ticket through those kind of sources, right?
Yes, I see.
And so I think it was €80 for a ticket that night, and I took my sister and two of my kids, right?
Right.
And it was a great night.
Yeah.
And I said to this guy, I said, by the way, how many Real Madrid fans are there? I don't see too many of them around.
Yeah.
And he said, none. And I said, well, what do you mean there's no fans at all? He said, no, we don't give any tickets at all to Real Madrid when we have an El Clasico game at the Nou Camp.
Yeah,
so they don't give any tickets. They don't even give them like the tiny little section at the top.
Yeah.
They give them nothing.
Doesn't surprise me at all. Doesn't surprise me at all. In this country, I think you have to give 9% of your tickets to the opposition, which isn't so good if you've got like a Bournemouth-type setup where they haven't been able to keep up with expanding the ground a pace with their rise through the leagues in football.
Exactly right. A couple of people are telling you that the drummer's name you're looking for is Nick Mason.
Thank you, Nick Mason.
Is that the guy you remember?
Yeah, famous racing driver as well, actually. Well, not racing driver, investor in vintage cars and does a bit of racing himself.
Yeah.
What is your favourite cheese?
My favourite cheese?
Yeah.
Now, there's a good question.
Yeah.
Out of the blue?
Yeah, out of the blue, because...
out of the blue cheese?
Yeah, because I just came across today a league table of cheeses, and the favourite in this country is cheddar.
Is it?
Followed by mozzarella.
Mozzarella?
Yeah, mozzarella.
Mozzarella?
Mozzarella. It's spelled M-O-Z-Z.
Yeah, but it's pronounced mozzarella.
Mozzarella.
No, it's not. It's not mozzarella.
Right, Red Leicester.
That sounds like something you spray on flies.
Red Leicester.
Mozzarella.
3 Red Leicester.
Yeah.
4 Brie.
Yeah.
5 Parmesan. But Parmesan's not a cheese, is it?
What do you mean it's not a cheese?
Well,
Parmesan. What is it then?
Parmesan is a thing that you scrape over your spaghetti. It's not a cheese.
How's it not a cheese?
Well, it's not a cheese.
It's a hard cheese.
No, it's not. You don't say, I'll have a piece of... I'll have the cheese board, please, with a piece of Parmesan.
Right.
You don't say that.
Well, you wouldn't have a piece of it generally on a cheese board.
No, Parmesan cheese only comes in powder flavour.
That's rubbish.
Which you use... You get a spoon and you spray it over your spaghetti.
Do you mean it's grated?
Yeah, grated, that's right.
But it's still cheese, though.
Yeah, but it's not solid cheese.
Well, it is before you grate it.
No, it's not. Parmesan is
Where do you
powder
think it comes
cheese.
from?
Well,
I've never thought about it,
but it's powdered
That's like
cheese.
saying, only powdered milk is the only real form of milk.
No, it's not, because you see milk in bottles in... You've never seen...
Have you never seen Parmesan in a big block?
Never.
Really?
No.
You've never seen it?
The only time I've ever bought Parmesan, seriously, is in a plastic tub where it's powdered. Of course it is.
I mean, even in supermarkets, right?
Yeah.
If you look properly, you will see that sometimes in a big triangular shape is what's called Parmigiano Reggiano or something similar, and it's hard cheese and it comes solidly.
Yeah, it doesn't impress me.
And when you go to a restaurant and the guy comes round to your table and asks you if you want Parmesan cheese, he doesn't just bring you a bowl full of grated cheese.
Yeah, it's powdered
It's not
stuff.
powdered, it's grated.
It's powdered
he
cheese.
will sometimes bring in a decent restaurant. He will actually bring the big block of cheese. And
You're
he will grate
winding me up.
I'm not. How can you not think that Parmesan is cheese?
My favourite cheese is Cheshire cheese. It's bright white. It's beautiful. It's not on the list of the top 10. The 10th one is Camembert. It's
Camembert.
French.
I like Camembert. I mean, there are so many cheeses. I'm not sure I could say what my favourite one is. I told you I went to La Fromagerie in Marylebone the other day, which
La
was fantastic.
Fromagerie.
Fantastic place. And they had
the cheese house.
more cheese than you could shake a stick at. And I'll take you to Borough Market one day, if I can drag you out the pub.
I'm going there Friday.
I'll show you all the different kind of cheeses you can get.
I've got a job there on Friday.
Have you?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, you should pop into a couple of the cheese places.
Maybe.
And ask them about if they can show you some generally speaking, hard, solid Parmesan cheese.
I wouldn't be interested.
Why?
To me, Parmesan is only powdered cheese. I don't want it in any other form.
Powdered?
Yeah.
Like powdered egg?
Yeah. Well, no, I've never seen powdered egg, actually. I don't believe powdered egg exists.
You said you used to eat powdered egg.
I've never eaten powdered egg in
Really?
my life. No, never. You got me wrong.
Are you sure?
Confusing me with somebody else.
No, it must be, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. This is Talk Sport. I don't know what to say, really.
Everyone knows that all the best things come in threes. 3 Amigos, 3 Stooges, 3 Lions. And right now, if you sign up to 888 Sport, you'll get treble odds on your first bet. Play with 888 Sport and harness the power of 3 with treble odds on your first bet. New customers only. Minimum £5 bet to qualify. Maximum £10 bet at treble odds. Bet at normal odds. Extra winnings added as a free bet within 72 hours. Free bets must be used within 7 days and are not included in any returns. See site for full terms and conditions. 18 plus. Please gamble responsibly.
Life is exciting.
Life is rewarding.
Now imagine your life enhanced with boundless opportunities.
A life where elite training gives you the edge.
Where travel and adventure are yours for the taking.
With roles from anti-piracy to counterintelligence. This is a life where you can realise your potential.
A life where you can make a difference.
All for as little as 24 fully paid days a year. Experience our way of life at Royal Naval Reserve Live. To find out about events in your area, search Navy Reserves.
UEFA Champions League football live on Talk Sport.
Come on!
Kicking off on Tuesday night from 7 with full match commentary of Paris Saint-Germain versus Chelsea.
It's a goal!
Followed on Wednesday night at 7 by Roma versus Real Madrid.
With a beautiful volley! What a goal!
UEFA Champions League football live on Talk Sport with Direct Line Van Insurance. For de facto 5-star rated van insurance, search Direct Line Van.
The Alan Brazil Sports Breakfast.
Whoa!
This morning from 6.
Tell me done something, lazy git. Me know what I'm talking about.
On his cheese table.
What?
Laughing Cow.
Oh, come on.
La Belle Cherie, isn't it?
No, don't be ridiculous. That's a joke.
Why is it a joke? That's cheese. What about Dairy Lee?
Well, Dairy Lee is nice cheese that you can
like
spread on your butty and all that kind of stuff, you know?
But it's not really cheese, is it?
Well, you get it in silver foil, don't you?
That doesn't make it cheese.
Well, it's in a nice round pack. I remember it when I was a kid.
In triangles, yeah.
Yeah, that's
but
right.
It's not cheese.
No,
it's processed.
Yeah, but it's nice. It's nice stuff. But Laughing Cow is a joke, isn't it?
Well, no, Laughing Cow is a French form of cheese. It is. It's like a brand name. Mozzarella and Parmesan. Hilarious, says Drill. Just scared the cat with laughing out loud.
Yeah, why?
Cheese pronunciation lessons needed.
Yeah, well, I'm sorry, but I mean, most of the best cheeses in the world are not anything to do with England, are they?
That's not true. You've just read out a load of them from England. Red Leicester, Cheddar.
Yeah, I know. But
what about Stilton?
Stilton. Oh, I can't stand Stilton.
You don't like Stilton? You don't like blue cheese?
Yeah, it looks horrible to me. It looks like it's mouldy and going off. I wouldn't put that in my mouth under any circumstances.
What about something like, I don't know...
Wensleydale?
Wensleydale?
Now, Wensleydale's not bad. That comes from Yorkshire, and that is the favourite cheese of old Gromit.
That's right.
Yeah.
From Wallace and Gromit.
That's right, yeah, absolutely.
Neil says, Porky, how would you say pizza?
Pizza, yeah.
Well, why would you say mozzarella? It's the same situation, 2 Zs.
Mozzarella. It's not mozzarella. I've never heard it pronounced as mozzarella.
Really?
Never,
have you ever
ever
cooked with mozzarella?
What do you mean?
Have you ever cooked with it?
What would I cook?
Well, you could make pizza with it for a start.
No, I don't cook I don't cook cheese.
You don't cook cheese?
I put cheese on toast sometimes. Yeah. How about that?
What sort of cheese do you use for that?
You
get those slices from the
Yes, I do actually. Slices of mild cheddar. What's wrong with that? What is wrong with that?
Nothing.
What's the problem?
There's nothing wrong with it.
Well, if you're the sort of idiot who says, I think I'll buy a block of mild cheddar cheese and then, excuse me, spend an hour slicing it up into slices to put on my toast.
It doesn't take an hour.
Then you're stupid.
It doesn't take an hour.
Because what I do is I buy it already sliced, okay?
Yeah, I know.
Have you got a big cheese knife then at home where you slice your cheese?
Yeah, I prefer to buy cheese in a block, yeah.
Why?
Because it tastes better.
Rubbish. Utter nonsense, honestly. You are a complete...
You buy what I describe as plastic cheese.
Honestly, you are a foodie oaf. You really are. You're trying to make out that you're some sort of, culinary expert, and in fact, I think you're a kitchen vandal, frankly.
Lloyd says this, I never thought I'd hear Porky explain the black lung joke of Zoolander. It's made my day.
Yeah,
Hashtag
really?
plank.
Why?
And Woodenhead says, Zoolander is one of my favourite ever movies. I'm going to vote for you in winners and losers this week because of your good taste, Mr. Parry.
Excellent. Thank you very much indeed. I hope Zoolander 2 is not a disappointment. So many films sometimes can be, the old follow-ups. And after 12 years, the problem is the original characters don't look anything like the original characters.
Well, because it's been going for too long, hasn't it?
Yeah, it has, yeah. How many Crocodile Dundees did you think were good?
Only the first one.
So do I. What do you think about the second one?
I didn't like the second one.
And the third one was it should never have been made.
Yeah.
Should never have been made.
Yeah.
I mean, I totally agree with you.
Well, there are very few movie franchises where they can make more than one good film.
Except for the Bourne Supremacy.
The Bourne films are good. I would also, although the one that they just made, there's a new one coming out, by the way, that that old, what's his face, Matt Damon's going to be in.
Yeah.
Right, but the one they made before that, without him, was all right, but it wasn't quite as good.
I quite like that one. It's where the guy climbed over the mountain, and the plot was that the CIA themselves were rubbing out their own agents, weren't they?
Well, that's always the plot, isn't it?
Yeah, OK, but on this particular one, because they were pumping them full of steroids and drugs. Now, listen, I'll tell you what I want to talk to you about.
Yeah, look, somebody sent in a picture of the Parmesan Reggiano. There you go. That's it. That's what it looks like before they powder it.
Yeah, but see, that doesn't look like cheese to me. Listen,
talking about... It doesn't look like cheese.
Talking about pictures, right?
About?
Just going to tell the audience now, what I'm going to do at the break, kids and folks,
We're not supposed to say break.
Well, next time we just take a short remission, I'm going to put out a picture of old MG with his new desert boots, right? And
they're not desert boots. I don't know why you think they're desert boots.
He doesn't know I've taken the picture, by the way. He was sitting there, arrogantly lolling back in his seat with his feet on the desk, and I was coming in from another direction. I'd just been in a studio.
Yeah, the working-class cellar, right?
Came out the studio, saw him was fitting his desk. I thought, I'm taking a picture of those. And then I said to him, what are they then? And the working-class man here, I said, where'd you get the desert boots from?
I don't pretend to be working-class.
He said, oh, they're not desert boots. I got them from John Lewis. You know John Lewis, did you?
I did get them from
John Lewis in Oxford Street.
No, it's Canary Wharf, actually.
Canary Wharf. John Lewis, Canary Wharf. Was that where you have your flat at Canary Wharf?
Well, it's not far from there.
Not far from there, yeah.
Why are you saying that in a mocking voice?
Because, you think you're so wonderful buying shoes at John Lewis. I wouldn't dream. How much do they cost?
I bought, they were about 120 quid.
120 quid for a pair of shoes, and you call me not being the man of the people.
I don't pretend to be a man of the people.
I wouldn't pay more than...
You said you paid 200 quid for those sort of, very fey-looking loafers that you've got.
But they're slippers.
Not slippers, no. The slippers you paid 175 quid for. They're just prancing about in the house. Yes. I'm talking about those loafers that you like to wear.
Which ones?
The ones that you're always boasting about. The tassel loafers that you wear when you go out somewhere posh.
Oh, sorry. When I put
how much do you pay for them?
When I put my suit on. Well, they're quite expensive.
Yeah, how much?
But they have a purpose.
How much? Well, they go on your feet.
Yeah, I think they're about £130.
So more than what I paid for these boots.
Well, yeah, but the point is, I only wear them specifically when I wear a particular suit.
Right.
So they are a particular part of my wardrobe.
Okay.
Whereas your desert boots...
They're not desert boots.
Are your everyday shoes.
They're Ted Baker's, actually.
There you go, Ted Baker.
Ted Baker's,
Ted Baker desert boots. Now, what I was going to say is...
They're not desert boots.
My day-to-day footwear is...
your comfortable shoes, as you like to call them.
Yes, my comfortable shoes is a £40 pair of trainers. From the
outlet store.
From the outlet store.
In Portsmouth.
From the Nike outlet store at Portsmouth. What's wrong with that?
There's nothing wrong with it.
No.
I'm not the one standing here criticising your footwear. I mean, everybody knows when they come to see one of our live shows that you always look ridiculous. Yeah. It's part of your charm.
I'm going to ignore all that.
You wear these tiny little size 5, little kind of what can only be described as shoes that you'd buy in Mothercare.
My shoe, my shoe size.
They look like the sort of shoes that somebody would wear who was suffering from some kind of rickets or something.
It's 9.5. Now then,
9.5.
Yeah. Now you know who George Orwell is, don't you?
No. Who is he?
Oh, come off.
Of course, I know who George Orwell is.
Now his famous books: 1984, Animal Farm, The Road to Wigan Pier.
Yeah.
Right. Do you know that he wrote an essay on what the English pub should be all about 70 years ago?
Did he?
And I've just found it republished. These are the things you need for a perfect pub, right?
Yeah.
I agree with almost all of them, right?
Okay.
A roaring log fire in winter. Would you agree?
I would agree with that.
Right. Quite enough to be able to talk to somebody sitting at your table.
Yes.
Pub games only in the public bar.
Yes.
But not in the saloon. Barmaids who know the customers' names. I don't agree with that.
I don't mind whether they know me or not.
No.
To be honest.
Right. Now, this was written 70 years ago. Besides cigarettes and pipe tobacco, the pub must sell stamps and aspirin.
Stamps?
Yes, stamps.
Why stamps?
Well, I don't think there were any post offices around 70 years ago.
I'm not worried if they sell stamps.
Well, I like the community spirit thing.
Really?
Right, next one. Serves good, solid meals at lunchtime, but only bar snacks in the evening.
Okay.
Now, you see, we're moving away now, aren't we, from the sort of retro pub and all that,
I'm okay with certain rules and regulations, but steady on is what I would say, George.
Now, listen to this from 70 years ago. A large, family-friendly garden with children's play area.
Yeah.
Now, that's kind of essential for people like you.
That must have been very unusual in his day.
I was going to say, 70 years ago. Right, draft stout.
Well, to a lesser extent now, because, it's good if your kids are young, but as they get older, children's play areas tend to be not really what they want.
No, I agree. I agree. Yeah.
I mean, my kids are getting a bit old for children's play areas now.
Yeah, I'm sure they are, yeah. And my problem is, I've got a family now whose children are all grown up. So when I say, for instance, the other day we were talking about what we're going to do at Easter, right?
Yeah, right.
And I said, well, I'm taking all the family out. And to a man, or a woman, they all insisted, well, don't take us anywhere where there are children running round at our feet and all that.
Why not?
Well, they want now to be in a child-free environment.
That's a bit miserable, isn't it?
Well, it's a little bit miserable. I don't mind hearing the laughter of kids and all that, but it irritates to mad one of my sisters. She goes bonkers, yeah. And
it's not one of the ones we're going to go visit in a couple of weeks.
No. Don't worry about that.
Right, I'm not worried about it.
I'll move on. George Orwell says another prerequisite: draft stout must always be on tap.
Yes.
So these days that's Guinness. You drink that, don't you?
Occasionally.
Yeah. Beer must be served in pewter tankards or china mugs.
No.
I couldn't stand that.
No, I prefer it in a glass, to be honest.
And all music must be banned. I quite agree with that.
All music?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I don't mind a bit of music.
Yeah, but it's too loud sometimes.
Well, it depends on how loud it... I mean, you don't want it to be particularly loud.
Now, Mr. Orwell wrote this in 1946, right? An essay describing the ideal pub. And his local one, believe it or not, was called Moon Under the Water.
Oh, yeah.
Now, one of my Wetherspoons pubs is called Moon Under the Water.
It is, yeah.
And it says, my favourite public house, the Moon Under the Water...
There's quite a few of them, aren't there?
I think it is. Only 2 minutes from a bus stop, but it's on a side street, and drunks and rowdies never seem to find their way there, even on Saturday nights.
Yeah.
That is the appeal of my local pub. I mean, this is great to be reading this from 70 years ago. The grained woodwork, the ornamental mirrors behind the bar, the cast-iron fireplaces, the florid ceiling stained dark yellow by tobacco smoke. We all remember those, don't we?
Indeed.
Yeah. The stuffed bull's head over the mantelpiece. Everything has the solid, comfortable ugliness of the 19th century in my local 20th century pub. I think it's great.
Yeah, well, some of it is.
Yeah.
Some of it is, but again, why not have a lot of variety? Why not have some pubs like that and other pubs which are a little bit noisier, a little bit more modern, full of younger people?
Yes.
You know, I'm different from you in that I'm not looking to set down a lot of rules by which other people should live.
No, neither am I. But I love old-fashioned pubs, and in fact, in my review tonight in Porkyvision, which is going to be dynamic, by the way, absolutely dynamic.
Well, you better hurry up.
It was set in a part of the world which gets out onto the Yorkshire Dales, and occasionally they stop at a country pub in the Yorkshire Dales. Absolutely wonderful. I could spend a week there.
I'm sure.
Sitting, on a table by the fireplace in the winter,
on
bit of snow on the ground.
Table for one.
Yeah, absolutely. Drinking a few pints, a few glasses of the old Pinot. Yeah. Bring me some fish and chips, please. Oh, right. I'm in dreamland.
Fish and chips twice. Once now and once in 5 hours' time.
Yeah, that'll do me. That'll do me, no problem.
Absolutely right.
Or a pie. Bring me a chicken and ham pie, please.
Okay,
yeah.
all right. Calm down, you're going to make people hungry.
Okay.
This is Talk Sport. Coming up next, we're going to talk Valentine's Day.
The Barclays Premier League on Talk Sport. 100% football all weekend, every weekend.
Oh my word, he's put it beyond the goalkeeper.
Saturday afternoon from 5, Chelsea versus Newcastle.
And it's slid in by Diego Costa.
Sunday from noon, Arsenal versus Leicester.
Wow.
Followed by Villa versus Liverpool.
What a goal!
Plus, around the grounds with live reports from every game throughout the season. Official partner of the Barclays Premier League. Talk Sport.
We've got it together, baby.
My last, my everything, and the answer to all my dreams. You're my sun, my moon, my guiding star.
This is Talk Sport. We are the two Mikes. Porkyvision coming up in the next hour. Does that make you think of Valentine's Day, that bit of music?
Well, not really, but
No?
in my heyday of my disco culture, I'd say that was in the sort of late 70s, right? That was Barry White. He was so popular, it was unbelievable.
Yeah.
And women used to swoon when the record came on.
Yeah.
And the other one was The Trouble With Me. Remember that? There was that one. My first
also
and last
by Barry
everything.
White?
Also by Barry White, The Trouble With Me.
Yeah.
And they used to, if you got them home and put on a Barry White song,
them home.
It was
You have such a nice turn of phrase.
No. If you ended up at your place,
Right.
there's a romantic interlude after.
Right. What, you mean like your caravan in North Wales?
After a night in the disco, they were putty in your hands.
Putty?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Well, let's talk to our good friend Ms. Lisa Daly.
Yes, indeed.
Who, of course, is generally our guru on all things to do with romance. Because it is that time of year. Lisa, very good morning to you. Welcome.
Good morning.
Well, first, my last, my everything, and the answer to all my dreams. You're my sun, my moon, my guiding star. Sunday from noon, Arsenal versus Leicester. Followed by Villa versus Liverpool. What a goal!
Yep.
Because it is that time of year. Lisa, very good morning to you. Welcome.
Good morning. Thanks for having me back.
Not at all.
Oh, Lisa,
thank you so much
to have you on the show.
For having us on your show as well. Now, tell us about what your plans are for Valentine's this year, and whether anything's different in terms of the fact that, here we are in 2016. I've been sent all sorts of emails from various organisations offering me, deals on roses, deals on cases of wine, deals on chocolates. And to be honest, I'm not that keen on the whole commercialisation of it all.
It's funny. This is gonna come as a big shock, but you are not the first man to say that.
It doesn't come as a shock. Doesn't come as a shock at all. I mean, I'm quite happy to buy somebody a dozen red roses any time of the year.
Well, that's true, and I think a lot of guys feel like there's this expectation that you don't just have to, send the roses and and bring the chocolate and a gift and take her out to dinner, and it gets to be really expensive, and it feels like there's a lot of pressure on that. And of course, on the women's side, we have all these high hopes for this, amazing romantic evening that, no guy is going to be able to pull off unless he has the help of like a Hollywood movie crew.
Exactly right.
So there's a ton of pressure on the evening, and of course we expect that everybody expects sort of that there's going to be sex at the end of the night.
Sex.
And
Yeah, steady. Porky doesn't like the mention of that too. It's too early in the day for him.
Yeah, go on. Yeah.
Oh, there you go. So there are all these expectations on both sides, and it puts a ton of pressure on the day and on the event. And really, if you're waiting the entire year to tell someone how much you care about them, you're sort of doing it wrong.
Okay, now Lisa, we've come across this new phenomenon here in the United Kingdom whereby women have now bonded together, and to stop their friends from feeling left out, lonely, isolated, rejected or otherwise on Valentine's Day, a lot of young women have started sending flowers to each other on Valentine's Day to make them feel better. What do you think about that?
I think that's very sweet. I think it's a lovely gesture of friendship. There certainly is a lot of pressure, not so much this year because Valentine's Day falls on a Sunday, but a lot of times, if Valentine's Day falls during the week, you watch bouquet after bouquet after bouquet coming into your office, and there's not going to be one coming for you if you're not seeing someone, and you just hope that, some stranger down the hallway is going to think of you. So it's very sweet. It's a very nice thing, and it does really sort of speak to all the pressure.
But isn't that
happens.
a bit of self-delusion though as well? And why should it matter if somebody's going to send you flowers? I mean, what
but you don't want to be left out, do you?
Well, no, I wouldn't care.
In the office. I mean, Lisa, he doesn't understand. I do understand human relations. And
you understand sending things to yourself.
Hang on. The girl in the office who doesn't get the bouquet is going to be branded as the one who was left on the shelf, the plain Jane, the girl who's got the glasses on.
I don't think so.
And all this kind of stuff.
What's wrong with glasses?
Well, there's nothing wrong with glasses as long as they're attractive and sexy glasses. But,
What do you think of my glasses?
Your glasses, I don't want to comment on them. Now, the other thing is, Lisa, I want to ask you this, because you're an expert, right? This is all very well among single people. To what extent should Valentine's Day be recognised and practised amongst those who have betrothed themselves to each other?
Well, you mean married people?
Yes.
Well, why are you asking that question?
Well, I'm asking
you're not married.
Well, I want to know, because Lisa's an expert.
He's curious.
He's been out with a lot of married women, but he's never actually married one of them.
No, that's true.
Well, there is an expectation, and a lot of times when couples have been married for a while, they stop sort of talking about all the romantic things. They just talk about what's on television and who left their toenail clippings under the couch and things like that. So what happens is that there is sort of an expectation, in particular with married people, that you will have some public display on that day that you will. It's just like Mother's Day or Father's Day or any other day where there's sort of an expectation that you're going to proclaim your love. Give them a card and some little trinket. To express that you care about them.
Why don't you tell Lisa about that lovely Valentine's message you once left for one of those married women that you were seeing?
Uh-oh.
Well, no, it wasn't.
He put a message
Trouble
in
here, I can tell.
He put a message in the paper.
It was actually in the Times of London, and because I was having a furtive relationship, it had to be in code.
Furtive?
Yeah, it had to be in code, Lisa, yeah. And so I just made a reference to the fact that I thought the lady I was seeing at the time was very sexy.
The rhyme was nice. Good.
What?
You remember the rhyme?
Well, no, I don't actually.
It started with roses are red.
Yes.
Violets are blue.
Yes.
And what was the next line?
I can't remember.
Well, it was something to do with lingerie looks lovely on you.
It does, yeah. It was, actually. Yeah, rose are red, violets are blue. I love lingerie when it's adorned on you. And I thought that was quite sexy and romantic. Yeah. And she was thrilled. She was, I mean, you know...
She must have very low expectations.
No, not at all, not at all. I mean, you see, what that was, Lisa, we were having a furtive relationship, so... on Valentine's Day...
So her husband didn't know, in other words.
Exactly, yeah. So on Valentine's Day...
It's shocking, this, Lisa. I can tell you're disappointed to hear this kind of stuff.
No.
We're going to have a whole other show to talk about why it's not a good idea to date somebody who's married. But go on.
Yeah, well, I was going to say is it was even sexier and more invigorating for her because it was forbidden love. And and she read in the newspaper of my my adoration for her.
Right.
What are you laughing at?
And
the idea of you and forbidden love.
Forbidden love. Yeah, it was.
And it's sort of this hiding in plain sight thing, and
exactly.
It's right, and her husband could have been reading the paper right then, for all you know.
Well, he could have been.
And he had no idea.
Yeah, had no idea.
Right,
yeah,
exactly. He'd have no idea.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I'll give you another scenario. I know of a guy that's not a million miles from here who had, on one particular Valentine's Day, had to do lunch and dinner with two different women. What do you make of that?
Well, I think if he's not... in a committed relationship with them, then that's fine. I think it's, guys have been dating more than one woman for years.
Yeah.
And
no, but with Valentine's Day, it starts to get tricky, doesn't it? Because obviously the one that they might not both realise that you have somebody else.
That's absolutely the truth.
Mm-hmm.
And you want to be honest about that kind of stuff, but certainly you don't want to announce to someone on your Valentine's Day lunch, hey, by the way, I've got a date later on today.
Yeah, I mean, you wouldn't want to walk into a restaurant with two bunches of 12 red roses and go, look, this one's for you, but this other one I'm going to keep for later.
And then I've got a 7:30.
Because I've got to see somebody at 7, yeah.
It's
no
true.
appetizer for you tonight. Yeah.
That's right. Now, Lisa, as we've gotten on the show, and you're an expert, please, what do you think about this latest phenomenon about these websites, which are sugar daddy websites? And in particular, we've got one over here. Listen to this. Thousands of skint girl students, that's girl students who have no money, are offering themselves up as sugar babies for rich older men in return for having their tuition fees and accommodation bills paid. I mean, this is a worrying phenomenon, is it not?
Well, I have to say it's been something that's been going on for a very, very long time.
Mm-hmm.
We've actually had websites like that for going on 10 years now, which is really crazy.
Yeah.
It is, it's kind of base and sort of sleazy.
Yes.
But certainly the people who are entering into these things are well aware of what they're getting. That, the sugar daddy knows that he's just appealing because of the money, and the sugar baby knows she's just appealing because she's 20 years old and wrinkle-free, and if that's what they are both searching for, and they're consenting adults, then I guess live and let live.
Yeah.
It does get into sort of an awkward situation when you have any sort of power imbalance in a relationship.
Yeah, but you wouldn't get much romantic feeling there. I shouldn't think.
But a lot of it is not necessarily sexual, is it? A lot of it is like they just want somebody to talk to, or
some companionship.
It's kind of sad. Really.
Come off it, man! Look at this picture of this lady who's put herself up as a sugar baby.
Yeah,
I'm showing my my broadcasting partner Lisa a picture of a woman with bouffant blonde hair, a micro mini skirt on, and legs as long as the Eiffel Tower. So I don't think she was just going to have conversations with the men.
No, but what I'm saying is I don't think it's like it's not like prostitution. It's just it's a kind of a strange phenomenon.
Yes.
It's pretty close to prostitution.
You think?
It is. It is.
Yeah, it is pretty close. I mean, you're talking about exchanging, money for. Obviously, it's not like I'll have a number 12 with a 6 on the side, but it is.
What
we're
is that?
talking about. I just made it up.
Oh, you made it up. Okay.
Yes.
I just made it up. I'm pretty sure it's what Elliot Spitzer got when he was in New York.
All right. Okay.
Yeah. So. Definitely, it's obviously it's not prostitution, but it's as close as you can get to prostitution.
It is indeed.
Without actually getting there. Yeah.
But a lot of men are very confused, aren't they, by modern life, and they think to themselves, well, maybe it's more straightforward if we do that kind of transaction, as it were, rather than doing that kind of awkward, shuffling about in a car or shuffling about on the doorstep of somebody you've just taken home, and you think, well, I've just bought you a very expensive dinner, are you going to let me in?
Right. Well, here's what's really interesting to me. I actually get a lot of letters from men who watch the daytime show, and oddly enough, sometimes when I'm on your show, I'll get like a little flux of Twitter messages, which is kind of cool.
Excellent.
And they will talk to me about how they, that they take a woman out to an expensive restaurant and they, show her their nice car and they're doing this, and this, and and then they feel like these women only want them for their money.
Right.
But they are trying to attract women with symbols of their money. They're spending a lot, on dinner. They're trying to impress them with this car. And so it's kind of interesting, and you sort of get what you put out in the world. So if you think your only value is that you drive a really expensive car, you're going to get people attracted to you who only care about your car. And
you drive an expensive car, don't you?
I drive a very nice two-door Mercedes sports car, actually, Lisa. And if I was
Does that do it for you, Lisa?
Sure, everybody loves a little Mercedes sports car.
Yeah,
sure.
exactly. And if I was a younger man, I'd say that I was a babe magnet, but I've probably got over that period. Just remind us again of that Twitter and email address that we can ask our people.
Email address.
Sorry, Twitter address. Twitter
is fine.
Yeah. You're going to have me inundated. You get my website is stopgettingdumped.com.
Yeah.
And you can find me on Twitter at Lisa Daly. And of course, I'm fans of you guys, so I'm easy to find.
Well, that's great. Lisa, thank you ever so much indeed for your
and a very happy Valentine's.
Brilliance.
Are you expecting any roses on Valentine's Day on Sunday?
I wouldn't go so far to expect anything, but I believe I will be having a very romantic Valentine's Day.
Really?
Oh, lovely.
Lucky old you.
Yeah.
That makes 2 of us out of 3.
You what? How dare you?
This is Talk Sport. Loads more coming up.
Life is exciting.
Life is rewarding.
Now imagine your life enhanced with boundless opportunities.
A life where elite training gives you the edge.
Where travel and adventure are yours for the taking.
With roles from anti-piracy to counterintelligence. This is a life where you can realise your potential.
A life where you can make a difference.
All for as little as 24 fully paid days a year. Experience our way of life at Royal Naval Reserve Live. To find out about events in your area, search Navy Reserves.
As every sports person knows, timing is everything. It can be the difference between standing on the podium and going home empty-handed. It can be the difference between a sweet first touch that finds the corner of the net and the missed kick that ends up in row Z. And when it comes to hereditary hair loss, timing is vital as well. Because the earlier you start using Regain for Men Extra Strength Scalp Foam, the higher your chances of success. An estimated 7.5 million men in the UK experience hereditary hair loss, many of them before they're 35. But fortunately, Regain is on hand with all the information and support you need to help you separate the facts from the fiction. If you've noticed you're starting to lose your hair, you need to understand exactly why it's happening and what you can do about it. And now Regain has an app that gives you support and advice to track your progress and maintain your twice-daily routine. Download the Regain for Men iPhone app from the App Store today and start separating the facts from the fiction at regain.co.uk. Regain contains minoxidil. Always read the label.
Talk Sport. Bang on target.
They've done it! Work hard and you play hard.
On DAB Digital Radio and 1089 and 1053 AM.
You won't lose out.
The power of teamwork.
It's easy.
Talk Sport.
Moonlit musings for sportsman vampires, factory shift workers,
Never mind hello, Chuck.
And men with prostate trouble. Morning, Andy.
What are you doing?
Make sure you stay awake for the radio show that never sucks. The Nosferatu Mics on Talk Sport.
Talk Sport, we are the 2 Mics. Porkyvision coming up in the next hour.
Yeah.
A bit of Lily Allen there.
Yeah, it's the best one ever, by the way, Porkyvision.
Is it?
It is going to be the best
I'm
ever.
looking forward to
It's
it.
going to be dynamic, I'm telling you. I have real passion for this this Porkyvision section of the programme
Fair
tonight.
enough.
Now,
Well, I can read you a few tweets out if you like, up to now.
Yeah.
Tom says this, Parmesan isn't cheese. Hilarious. Porky just reminded me of one of the reasons I listen.
Oh, really?
Uncultured man of the people.
Yeah, okay.
Peter says, a ripe Reggiano, some dates and a nice port. That's the good life, Porky.
Yeah, okay.
And Roy says, old Porky mocks old MG for 120 quid for shoes, and then he pays 175 quid for slippers.
Yeah, but I mean...
How much for his Velcro booties?
Yeah, but hang on, those slippers protect like carpet at sort of £30 a square metre, you know what I mean?
What's the drill, by the way, if I come to your sister's house? Do I have to take my shoes off?
No, we've gone through all that. We're staying on the ground floor, and that's either...
is that linoleum or wood or something?
No, it's wood, polished wood or mats, which can be sent to the cleaners and all that kind of stuff. You know what I mean? Yeah.
Do you have any idea how that makes me feel?
Well, don't worry about it.
That makes me feel like some kind of unwelcome refugee or something.
No, it'll be okay. Listen, I've got pictures here from people who are still interested in the cheese debate.
Oh, yeah.
First of all, Maxwell Silverhammer, he's a regular correspondent.
He is.
He sent me a picture of the laughing cow, so that does actually exist. That is a cheese.
La vache qui rit, that's what I told you.
The what?
La vache qui rit, that's what it's in French.
No, this is in English.
En français, yeah, but the laughing cow in French is a French company.
Oh, I see.
And it's called La vache qui rit.
And it comes in triangles. So you're mocking me about Dairy Lee. Laughing cow
sometimes it does, yeah.
Triangles.
Sometimes.
And he says you get it in Tesco, right? But then the next one is from a guy called James Oliver. So
Oliver.
It's not Jamie Oliver, it's James Daly Oliver.
Okay.
Now, he sent me a piece of... he sent me a photo of a piece of Parmesan Reggiano, okay?
Right. Parmesan.
And I have to say, it looks revolting.
What do you mean?
Well, it looks brittle and hard, and it looks like a chalk mountain. It looks like the White Cliffs of Dover.
Yeah, but it's hard cheese. That's what it's meant to be.
But what's most worrying is the blinking rind around the edge.
Yeah.
It's horrible.
Yeah, but I mean, all decent cheese has rind. I mean, the thing is, the way that you buy cheese, which is already pre-packaged and sort of, sanitised, if you like, and put into plastic, is not the way you should buy cheese. You should buy cheese, it's with the smell of it, with the taste of it, and in fact, one of the things that I do with the rind of Parmesan cheese like that is when you're making, say, spaghetti sauce, or you're making a bolognese sauce, or you're making minestrone or something like that, you put the rind inside the sauce, right? Yeah. And it gives it a really, really interesting flavour.
Doesn't look good.
It's great. It's absolutely brilliant.
Anyway, I think we're talking too much about cheese. Listen, that Lily Allen song, right?
Smart.
Now, I thought originally when I read what she had to say, she had something. Lily Allen's become embroiled in a row with an education minister after she questioned the value of children learning Pythagoras, the Pythagoras theorem, and using Bunsen burners.
She questioned it.
She questioned it.
Why?
She attacked Nick Gibb, who's apparently he's a government education minister, after he said that learning historical facts and dates must be made a priority in schools. In response, Ms. Allen tweeted, "I left school 15 years ago. I've never used Pythagoras' theorem once or even seen a Bunsen burner.
Right.
Are they teaching children about mortgages, how to get a job, national insurance, and how to fill out a self-assessment tax return?"
Right.
That's what they should be doing.
Or possibly how to go to Glastonbury without fainting.
How to go to Glastonbury without fainting. Mr. Gibb replied, "Not everyone's lucky enough to have a job like yours, Ms. Allen. For many people, maths and science are crucial to their career and life chance," right?
Yeah.
Now, I think she's got something there.
Has she got young kids or something?
I don't think so.
Is there any reason why she decided to enter this particular debate?
Well, I think she thinks that maybe a lot of her own education was a waste of time. But I do think she's got something there. I think...
Why?
Well, I think children, even at 18, when they have, sort of a long education, do leave school massively ill-equipped to face the world in things like, what she just said about, how do you buy a house? How do you...
Yeah, but I mean, that's
how
part
do you save money?
But surely that's part of
a bank account,
life's learning process, isn't it?
Anyway, listen, what I was going to say is, I'll take this a bit further, because Rod Liddell is a very well-known newspaper columnist.
He is.
And an old pal, really. And
is he?
Well, he worked in radio a lot, didn't he?
I didn't know him.
Yeah, he was editor of the Radio 4 Today
programme.
Yeah,
he was, but I didn't know him. Did you know him?
He used to... yes, did, yeah.
Did he?
And he used
mate of yours, is he?
Yeah, could be, yeah.
When was the last time you spoke to him?
I'm not going to go into that. I don't. I don't like talking about my personal.
He actually lived not far away from me in Wiltshire because he had a very well publicised breakup with his wife.
Oh yeah, absolutely. It was shocking. He took on a mistress.
He lived in the next village to me.
That's right. Yeah. And also, what I liked about him was when David Blunkett was the Home Secretary. He used to call him Old Blindy, right? Which, many people would have found offensive, considering that David Blunkett has been blind all his life,
indeed,
but very successful despite his infirmity. Who found it all very amusing. That's the relation we had. But anyway, he wrote in response to that in one of his columns. Here we are, Lily. Did you study maths at school? Because if you did, I want you to answer this question. Now, you might be able to answer this, Mike.
Okay.
What is the next number in the sequence? 7?
Yeah.
43?
Yeah.
93?
Hang on. 7?
Yeah.
43? Yeah. 93?
Yeah.
Right. That's it.
You won't get it because I'll tell you why. They are the chart positions of your last 4 singles, and the answer to the missing number is nowhere at all.
That's very good.
I thought that was really funny.
Yeah, I like that.
Well done, Rod Liddell.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, Lily Allen, I mean, she is quite famous for many things, but I mean, I think you would describe her in the most generous way possible as erratic. Somebody who, shall we say, gets herself into the news for probably the wrong reasons.
Well, what Rod is saying is you may need to go back and rely on what you learnt at school soon, as he's insinuating that her pop singing career is drying up.
Yes.
Was she ever very successful?
Oh yeah, she's been successful and she's been very high profile, but she's also kind of been in and out of various kind of personal difficulties. I think you would probably say.
What? Not like the Priory and all that.
Well, you would say something close to that. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Didn't she have a famous father as well?
She does, indeed.
What's his name? Mike Allen?
Well, no, not Mike Allen, no. It's the guy who did the Vindaloo and all that, wasn't it?
Oh, what was his name?
You know, the song.
Yeah, okay, what was his name?
Yeah.
What was that? Vindaloo.
Keith Allen. He was a sort of comedian, stroke musician, stroke whatever.
Vindaloo.
Well, she also said that she thinks kids should learn about the dangers of marriage and get some introduction to divorce.
Well, I think that's quite wise.
No, I don't.
Well, if you've had some education like that, you might have got yourself into the domestic pickles you've had all your life.
Because I learned when I was 8 years old that I shouldn't get divorced.
Well, it's not. She's talking about 8. She's talking about maybe 13, 14,
rubbish.
15.
Well, by that time, most kids' parents have got divorced anyway, so they're learning it on the job, as it were.
Yeah, but then they can make their own mistakes, can't they, in life? You know what I mean?
Well, indeed.
It's all about.
Well,
indeed. All about.
I think you're totally wrong, but we'll continue this next on TalkSport.
2 TalkSport teams are about to go big as they take on the Heinz Big Soup Challenge on TalkSport. Listen to Colin Murray next Tuesday from 10 as the 2 intrepid teams test their strength and speed against a hardened professional rugby player in a tough tackling rugby showdown. Don't miss the Heinz Big Soup Challenge every Tuesday on the Colin Murray Show on TalkSport with Heinz Big Soup. Heinz Big Soup. Go big or go hungry.
Whether you're saving up for a trip to paradise or building your dream bathroom, the money you're putting aside is perfectly safe, protected by the FSCS up to £75,000. Should anything happen to your bank, building society or credit union, it's completely automatic, free of charge, and you'll normally get your money back within 7 days. You'll probably never need us, but it's good to know we're here. Search FSCS Protected to check you're fully covered.
Woo your Valentine with our beautiful bouquets. From a single rose for £2, 18 gorgeous rose stems for £15, or our magnificent extra special bouquet for £30. Make it even more memorable with a bottle of delicious Prosecco for only £5. Cupid would be proud. Asda. Save money, live better.
Selected line stores and availability. Drink aware.
On digital radio and 1089 and 1053 AM. Talk Sport.
Talk Sport, we are the 2 mics. Lots of very complimentary things coming in about my shoes, by the way. I don't know if you've managed to notice.
I think there's a few coming in that are not too complimentary. Who is the character Neen Numb?
Eh?
Oh, he's in Star Wars.
He's in Star Wars,
yeah. Doing a pretty good, old MG doing a pretty good impression of Neen Numb in Star Wars.
Yeah, well, that's because somebody's put a mask on me.
That's right, they have, yeah.
I don't know what that's got to do with the boots I'm wearing.
Well, because I said they were desert boots, so maybe this guy treks through deserts on the moon or something.
Bob says he's just flown home from the UK to New York, stocked up on mature Cathedral City cheese.
Cathedral City? That's named after Chester, by the way.
Yeah, that is quite nice.
The cathedral they're referring to is Chester Cathedral.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, my hometown.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
Lots of people appreciated what Lisa Daly had to say. Here's one from Steve, who says he's got this rhyme for you. Roses are red, violets are blue. I drive a Merc and I'm a Burke. That hasn't got quite enough rhythm.
No, I could complete that. What is it?
I drive a Merc and I'm a Burke too, I would say.
No. What's the first bit? Roses are red, violets are blue.
Yeah.
I drive a Merc. Why don't you?
Why don't you?
Yes.
Well, you see, again, you're making people feel somehow insignificant, right?
No.
Here's one from Peter. My God, Lisa's profile Pork is a typical listener of the 2 mics. I'm now thoroughly depressed.
Who is?
Lisa, who was just on.
Oh, I see, yeah. Thoroughly depressed about what?
You don't forgot that. Well, he's thoroughly depressed about listening to her describing you.
Oh, I see, yeah, okay.
Dave says this in Belfast. MG, invited to Porky's family home as a guest and having to stay on the ground floor.
Yes.
Are you sharing accommodation with the servants?
Yeah, well, we don't actually have a below stairs, but it's sort of on that level.
I mean, I don't mind. Right. I don't mind like staying outside. It's not a problem for me.
Yeah.
Here's one that says Parry a babe magnet, more like a fridge magnet.
More like a fridge magnet. Funny enough, do you know that fridge magnet you bought me back from your last holiday?
Oh yeah, from Mexico.
Yeah, I only just found that the other night. Well, in the sense that it's always been on my
stuck on the
fridge. It's on my fridge,
yeah.
but you have sometimes things in your house which you don't notice for years, literally. No, you do, literally.
For years?
Years.
How can you have things that you don't notice for years?
Well, you know when I last posed with my Russian soldier's hat.
Oh, when you brought it in the other night.
Do you know what? I hadn't noticed that.
Yeah, well,
that's
10
years.
Different. But I mean, unless it's on display, that's one thing.
Well, it is. It's on the top of one of my cabinets, but I don't look up all the time.
Well, yeah, but surely if something's on a fridge, like a fridge magnet.
Well, you'd think so, but I mean, you take things for granted in life. You know what I mean?
I mean, I would notice something that was on my fridge.
Yes.
I wouldn't not think. I mean, has it been stuck there and you've not noticed it all these months?
Yes, that's
really?
right. Yeah, seriously.
Right.
Yeah.
Because it was a sort of a skull, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was
a very colourful skull.
You tried to tell me it cost you $40, and then you eventually
40 pesetas.
Exactly.
Yeah.
40 pesos, actually.
Pesos.
Yeah, pesos.
Well, the cost is not important.
Well,
it's the thought that counts.
I think the cost is important. Listen, I'll tell you what I want to talk to you about next.
Yeah, go on.
We haven't got much time.
We haven't got a lot of time.
But I do. It's about the lady who's converted unused phone boxes into libraries.
Oh, I saw this woman on TV.
It's great. It's a great.
It's a bit weird, isn't it?
Well, you say it's weird, but it's South Cambridgeshire. It's a little village called Ellsworth, right? And she's won the right. She's appealed against the council, who were going to charge you rates.
Did they not also want her to get planning permission or something?
Absolutely,
ridiculous?
they want to get planning permission. They're going to charge you rates and all that kind of stuff. And she's beaten them, and now it remains. But I've got other ideas.
Well, don't say anything else. This is Talk Sport. We are the two mics.
The Barclays Premier League on Talk Sport. 100% football all weekend, every weekend.
Oh my word, he's put it beyond the goalkeeper.
Saturday afternoon from 5, Chelsea versus Newcastle.
And it's slid in by Diego Costa.
Sunday from noon, Arsenal versus Leicester.
Wow.
Followed by Villa versus Liverpool.
What a goal!
Plus, around the grounds with live reports from every game throughout the season. Official partner of the Barclays Premier League, Talk Sport.
This is Talk Sport. We are the Two Mics. So you can tweet us, of course, at the Two Mics. If you haven't been to the Facebook page yet, you should go there because there is a Two Mics Facebook page which has got lots of information on it. And also our website, the2mics.co.uk, where you can find all sorts of things like dates for our upcoming shows.
Yeah.
One coming up in April, on the 9th of April in Manchester at the Dance House. And we've got a few more, hopefully, to be announced very shortly. And also you can get the DVD there.
Yes.
You can get T-shirts there.
Yes.
It's a veritable emporium.
What's this?
Of stuff. Our website.
The2mics.co.uk. We are going to go to Tyneside in September.
Yeah, we are, yeah.
We have a show booked there. We haven't just finalised the exact details.
Yeah.
But it will be on the Tyneside coast.
Oh, the Tyneside coast. Okay,
yes,
right.
yes.
Excellent.
Right now,
Jason says this: Cathedral City cheese is originally from Wells, not Chester.
Oh, well, I believe
That's
it's
in Somerset.
I believe Chester is the inspiration for it. But,
and here's one from John, backing up old Lily Allen. He says, "I'm ashamed to say it, but I agree with Porky. I'm 26 years old, and nothing I learned in secondary school has been useful to me in life since.
Well, that's
I couldn't calculate mortgages, but I know about the cells in a leaf.
Yeah.
They should teach at least some life skills." Well, John, I think it's great that you know about cells in a leaf, and you can learn about mortgages any day of the week.
It's so much good for the rest of your life,
Well, it is. Yeah, no, I think knowledge is not about just things that you can necessarily use at any given time.
But if the classes...
for commercial purposes.
If the classes in which he was being taught about cells in a leaf and photosynthesis and all that kind of stuff, which is all part of that biological process...
Yeah. Well, what if you want to be a biologist or a scientist?
Yeah, well, not many people do.
Well, but we need people to do those kinds of jobs.
In my view, they should have taught that correspondent of ours. What's his name?
His name's John.
John. Thanks, John, for corresponding with us. They should have taught him bricklaying.
Why?
Because that's more useful to a future job.
They can't teach like 15-year-olds bricklaying.
Yes, they can.
No.
Or how to drive a lorry. Because there's a massive shortage of lorry drivers in this country.
No, see, I think the whole point, surely the whole point about education is that you broaden people's horizons.
Don't
and
you
teach them things that they weren't sure they needed to know about.
I think they should have simulators in schools of lorry cabs. and teach kids from the age of about 14 how to drive lorries.
No.
So that by the time they get to sort of 18 or 19, they'd be fully qualified to drive a 40-ton lorry.
Well, they wouldn't actually.
Because then they could earn a living.
No, because all they would do was... I mean, they can sit on their own PS4 at home and pretend they're driving a lorry.
No, they can't.
I mean, you can get a simulator on any kind of PS4 to do that.
No.
Or an Xbox.
No. What you need is one of those, like, fairground-type simulators where, we actually sit on the seat and get hold of a steering wheel.
Yeah, but that's not like
move
driving,
the steering
is it?
wheel around. Of course it is.
No, it's not.
Of course it is.
Rubbish.
In a simulator. Anyway, listen,
I think you're wrong about that.
I'll tell you what I'll talk to you about, right? The new report, one of my journals I was reading today.
Yeah.
5 types of colleagues in the office, OK?
Yeah.
And all 5 will get under your skin.
OK.
OK? They are the narcissist.
Right.
OK? And I want you to qualify me out of this. I mean, you have a ridiculous conception of my role in life. But I'm going to give you the opportunity.
What, because I've often accused you of being a narcissist?
I'm going to give you an opportunity to have a pop at me. The five classified are the narcissist, the anger addict, the passive-aggressive, the guilt tripper.
You're all of them so far.
Hang on.
That's all 4 of you.
Hang on.
You're all 4 of them.
And the 5th one, the don't tell anyone I told you this gossip.
OK. Yeah, right. I would say you qualify in every area.
How dare you say that?
I would.
What do you mean, narcissist?
Well, you're a narcissist because you're obsessed with yourself, right?
Rubbish.
Yes, you are. And you're only interested in things that involve you, right? No, and every time I tell you a story, you turn it into a story about you.
I realise I have value.
Yeah. OK, well, I think that qualifies you as a narcissist. Anger addict, yes, because you quite enjoy being angry, I think.
No, I don't. I don't get angry with people.
You're angry quite a lot of the time, so I think that definitely applies.
Well, listen, if people don't do their job properly, and if they're not up to standard, if they don't meet my professional standards, then there is a reason to protest.
Yes.
The passive-aggressive.
Passive-aggressive, yes.
What is a passive-aggressive?
Passive-aggressive is somebody who will say something to you like, would you like to make me a cup of tea?
Right.
Rather than saying, would you please make me a cup of tea, which is more direct. And a passive-aggressive person is trying to make you feel somehow that you want to do something for them.
Do you know the one?
But they don't want to actually ask you.
Do you know the one whose face I always want to punch in?
Who?
The person who comes to you and says, "Oh, I don't suppose you'd like to."
Yes.
Right?
Exactly. That's a very passive-aggressive.
You don't want one of these, do you?
Yeah.
When they've got like a bag of sweets in their hand or something like that.
Yeah, but it's not so much about that. It's
the negative approach.
They're not giving you something, but they're trying to make you do something for them without you feeling like you're kind of being asked to do it, if you know what I mean.
So what would they say? I don't suppose you'd want to make me a cup of tea.
Well, they would say things like, I don't suppose you'd like to make me a cup of tea.
They're ridiculous. I wouldn't say. I'd be more to the point. I'd say, excuse me, could you make me a cup of tea, please?
Exactly.
Yeah, right. The guilt tripper.
Yeah, the guilt tripper. Yeah, well, you make people feel guilty about something else that's happened, right? So that they somehow do more for you. It all feeds back into the narcissist thing.
No, I'm not a guilt tripper.
No, I would say
However,
you are.
If people are not recognising my contribution to a particular situation, not recognising the level of talent that I have to input into a situation, then I don't get guilt tripper. I get sort of
angry.
No, frustrated at their lack of perception of what's going on.
Yeah.
Right?
Right, OK. Well, so far I'd say 4 out of 4.
Well, I wouldn't. And the don't tell anyone I told you this.
Don't tell anyone. Yeah, well, I mean, we're all engaged in a bit of that, aren't we, in the media business? I mean, because we're always hearing bits of gossip here, there and everywhere.
Yeah.
And usually one of the first things that you know is that one piece of gossip is never, ever able to be kept secret.
I don't believe in that, you see. What I believe in is this. If you've got something to say, you say it openly, or you say it to somebody's face, or you don't say it at all. So, for instance, when somebody comes up to me...
Well,
say,
for example, if you heard some gossip about me, right?
Yes.
What would you do?
Well, I'd first of all evaluate it to see whether it's true or not.
Well, you'd ask me.
Maybe, or maybe not.
Maybe not.
It might be
so you
hurtful
might ask
to
somebody
you.
else.
It might be hurtful to you.
Yeah.
And then if I felt that... I could be mischievous.
Yeah.
I'd spread it.
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
Providing.
But would you do it with sort of the anonymity? So say to people, don't tell anyone I told you this.
No, I'd never say that because you're saying that's cowardly. I would tell people openly.
Yeah.
And then when you came back and confronted me, then I'd say, well, it's true. Right? So if people were saying to me that, for instance, there was a rumour going round that you had a little table under the desk.
Yeah.
On this table, you kept a sandwich permanently. And every time, we had a commercial break or something like that, you'd reach for the sandwich and all that.
Right.
People asked me whether that was true, and I said yes, even though it's not.
Even though it's not true.
No, exactly, yeah.
So you would spread false and malicious rumours?
No. I just wouldn't correct the false and malicious rumour, because I don't feel it's my job to do so.
Well, I think that definitely qualifies you as all 5 of them.
Yeah, no, I don't think so. I don't think so at all.
Well, do you think I qualifies any of those? I mean, it doesn't seem fair if I'm going to evaluate you.
Yeah.
You're not going to evaluate me.
Right, OK. Narcissist, you are definitely.
Definitely a narcissist?
Yeah, definitely.
How come?
Well, because,
I'm the most magnanimous of people.
No, but you talk about yourself as some kind of paragon of virtue, you know what I mean? And
when have I ever done that?
Oh, always, all the time.
When?
Oh, that you're a master chef at home.
I've never said that.
That you
no,
know,
that's what you've implied from what I've said. I just said I enjoy cooking. I'm not a master chef.
That you don't spend your days in bladderation, which you do all the
No, I don't.
time.
That's not true either.
Hang on, you were at the old Marianne Faithfull concert the other night.
Yeah, I was. It was a concert.
You were out drinking earlier on.
It's a concert. I had a couple of pints earlier with some work colleagues.
Oh, there you go. You say, well, I don't get into that. I read my journals.
Right.
The anger addict. You are an anger addict.
You think?
Oh, you get absolutely furious.
I'm very rarely angry.
If you think people are not recognising the contribution you're making, you go around kicking...
You're just describing yourself again.
Kicking bins over. The passive-aggressive, well, there's plenty of that involved in you. Plenty of that involved in you.
Well, give me an example.
Getting other people to do things for you.
Give me an example.
Well, you say to John, our technical operator there, things like, I don't suppose you'd like to play this, would you, or play that?
I've never said that to him.
I've heard you say that.
Well, you've just admitted that you're quite happy to spread false and malicious rumours about me.
No, I didn't. I said I don't see it as my responsibility to kill off false and malicious rumours about you, because you may want them to spread. People like you often do.
Really? I want people to think that I'm doing things that I'm not doing.
Yeah, it's your reverse psychology to big yourself up.
Right.
The guilt tripper. Yeah, well, you're a bit of a guilt tripper.
Am I?
Yeah. You often throw barbs.
I'm not convinced.
You often throw barb comments at me to make out like I've let the show down or something like that. And don't tell anyone I told you this.
Right.
Yeah, well, you're full of that. I've seen you and Alan Brazil whispering in the mornings, when...
Mr. Brazil occasionally seeks my counsel.
Seeks your counsel.
Occasionally.
I don't know about that. The problem is that in any workplace, right, you're always going to have some... malicious little bum who is going around whinging, moaning. And the other thing I find very objectionable is when people say, that person's got a bullying attitude. It's not a bullying attitude to ask for things to be done properly. But in the modern workplace...
Well, do you know the word bullying is now used far too much?
Oh, I know. It's ridiculous.
People accuse you of bullying all the time.
Yeah.
You accused me earlier in the show of bullying one of the listeners.
Yeah, I did, yeah.
And I wasn't bullying him at all. No, I was simply giving him, a sort of a stern argument.
If we're given a read to read out, right, it's been written by somebody.
Yeah.
If the words on it are incorrect, you have every right to go and get hold of the guy or the girl and say, excuse me, well, I'm given something to read and 3 million people are listening, it needs to be accurate. Can we get it right, please?
Right.
Doesn't happen very often here
at
Talksport.
That's not bullying.
In fact, it doesn't happen here at all at Talksport. We have very high standards, but it has happened at other places, I know. Yes.
Oh, OK. Well, I'm glad we sorted all that out anyway.
Yes.
Now, coming up, I'm going to tell you about the sales of marijuana in Colorado, which have gone through the roof.
Right on, man.
This is Talksport.
The kitchen has changed, and with up to 40% off a selection of ready-to-fit Wix kitchens, you can enjoy a new one in no time. Plus cabinets from as little as £25 and worktops from £35. Is it time to change yours? Wix. Let's do it right. For offer details, visit wix.co.uk.
A yes can mean a lot of things. Like sharing your life with the person you want to, not the people you have to. A yes can mean a dog, a cat, or even several of each. A yes can mean the start of a family and pencil marks on the wall as your children grow. It can mean, I love it here. I never want to leave. At NatWest, we understand that a mortgage means a home, which is why we say yes to a mortgage every minute. So what would a yes mean to you? Search NatWest Mortgages. Based on mortgage offers made January to November 2015, 9 to 5 over a 5-day working week.
He's got the numbers on the players, the triumphs and defeats. Got the form in the football weekend and the rumors on the streets. Get all the stats and all the facts with his football form report. Stay on the ball on Friday night with Sky Bet and TalkSport.
Get expert soccer speculation on all the weekend's big games. Stay on the ball on Kickoff, the Players Lounge. On TalkSport with Sky Bet, making betting better. Check out the latest price boost now at skybet.com. Gambleaware.co.uk.
Listen to Kickoff with Mark Saggers tonight from 7. The UK's most interesting weeknight football.
This is very big business.
Kickoff tonight from 7 on Talk Sport.
You got anything better to do tonight?
Smoke, smoke, smoke that cigarette. Puff, 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 and if you smoke yourself to death.
Tell St. Peter at the Golden Gate that you hates to make him wait, but you just gotta have another cigarette.
This is Talk Sport. We are the two mics. Porkyvision's coming up very, very shortly. I've got a couple more verses for you for Valentine's Day. Here's one from Mark. Here's one from Mike Parry. Roses are red, violets are blue. Table for one, please, not two. That's quite good, isn't it? You like that one?
Yeah. I find that hilarious.
Yeah. Here's one from Johnny, who says, a narcissist could never recognise how Mike Graham just described our favourite narcissist, Porky. And Steve says, did they teach Porky how to be a plank at school? If so, they did a mighty fine job. Hashtag keep up the good work. And this is a bit of a serious one, actually.
Right.
And it's all about a quote from Martin Luther King, who says, the function of education is to teach one to think intensively and to think critically. Intelligence plus character, that is the goal of true education.
Yeah,
and I think that's right.
Dr. Martin Luther
King Jr.
Yes. Oh, Jr. Oh, okay. Yeah.
Well, that's him. I mean, that was who he was.
Oh, I see. Okay. Yeah, it's not his son.
And Lord Rallo says, Porky may be most of the list, but MG, you are definitely the passive-aggressive one as when it comes to Porky abuse.
Well, there you go, you see. You see, I told you, didn't I?
Well.
Right.
Anyway, let me tell you about this marijuana story.
Yeah,
right?
please.
Colorado legalised marijuana in 2012.
Right.
Right. But for the first time since then, basically, cannabis sellers legally did nearly $1 billion of business in 2015. Right? Isn't that amazing? $1 billion.
So is that legal money?
Yeah.
That's legal money?
Yeah, because they legalised the cannabis, right? So what they said was, right, now we will sell it through shops. We will sell it. We will try and cut out all the gang warfare.
And there's no caveat that this is for medical use only?
No, not at all, no.
Right.
No, they've legalised it completely in Colorado.
So it's become Holland?
Yeah, basically. And the rule that they have, I believe, is that you're not allowed to take it more than a small amount out of the state. So you have to be buying it to consume it in Colorado.
Well, if the state next door doesn't legalise cannabis, you're breaking the law anyway.
Yeah, exactly right.
Crossing the county line.
So what they say is they've diverted all this money away from black market gangs, cartels and drug dealers, but they've also handed it into to the hands of tax-paying licensed American citizens. So what they've generated is $135 million in tax, right? And more than $35 million dollars of that is earmarked for Colorado's school system.
Do we think this is a good thing?
I think it is, yeah.
You think it's a good thing?
I think it is, because at the end of the day, I mean, that's $35 million for the school system and another $100 million for the general kind of taxpayer to go into the coffers of the state government.
The only thing...
And surely that has to be a good thing.
The only thing I would say is that there's a debate raging that smoking cannabis gives you severe mental problems and can lead to dependency on Class A drugs.
Well, that's maybe provable, maybe not. But the bottom line is it doesn't stop people smoking it. I mean, there are plenty of people who ignore that advice, right, and smoke cannabis no matter what. So whether it's legal or not, you're not going to stop people smoking it. Whereas this way, I think at least you get some money out of it.
Get some revenue from it.
Which seems quite sensible to me.
Yeah, but then again, if it's legal, more people will smoke it because it's not underground anymore.
That's possible. That is possible.
Does that mean then that you have a greater responsibility for healthcare for the people who are being damaged by smoking?
Well, I mean,
which is clearly dangerous.
Well, the other argument, which again, I mean, all of these arguments are kind of, possibly provable or disprovable, is that if you're regulating it, then you've got more chance of controlling who actually buys it and who actually smokes it.
Yeah, I suppose so. I'm not against it because... I mean, I read... There are some newspaper commentators, one in particular, who's an old friend of ours, who says that smoking cannabis is the start of a long mental process which gives you paranoia. It can give you depressive...
And that can be true for some people.
It can give you paranoia, depressive instincts. It can lead to suicide. It can lead to dependency on Class A drugs. It's in fact debilitating and destructive.
Yeah, but I mean, the argument in a way is not about whether that's the result of smoking it. The argument is that, but people are already smoking it, so why not legalise it and make some money out of it?
But he also says that the way that the drugs industry works is like a lot of other industries. You're started off and tempted by something relatively mild or relatively cheap, in terms of, the product they're trying to sell. But then they turn up the ante on the strength of it, the cost of it, and all that kind of stuff.
But part of the argument about that, though, is that if you have to go and buy your marijuana from somebody who's an illegal drug dealer, they're more likely to be selling other illegal drugs. Whereas if you're buying it from a shop, which is entirely above board, where they're not selling other illegal drugs, then you're not likely to be confronted with that possibility.
Yeah, I'm open to the debate on it. I think it's quite a good debate. I'm not against it all. It's just that I think that once you put any liberalisation into drugs, you don't know where it's going to end.
Yeah, you don't. But, I mean, we don't know where it's going to end now, do we?
No,
the amount of illegal drugs in this country and in every other country in the world is a staggering amount, and I just think it's time that we start collecting some money for it.
I remember staggering down a street in New York once, and I will hold my hands up here and say that it was a mistake I made when I was young, and would never do it again. But I had a suspect cigarette in my hand.
Did you?
I got stopped by a policeman.
Well, walking down the street?
Yeah.
Blimey.
Yeah, it was like, I came off 3rd Avenue and it was, I don't know, 34th Street or something like that.
Yeah.
And I was stopped by a policeman who asked me what I was doing.
Right.
And, I sort of kind of explained, and he said, well, have a care. And I
have a care?
Up. Yeah,
Well, so he didn't ask you to put it out?
Well, I think he was trying to say to me, we have very liberal views about this these days, but we don't see people walking around doing it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I was told later that actually, if it had been another policeman, you could easily have been arrested. And in fact, the Rockefeller laws, apparently, in New York State, are incredibly punitive.
Are they?
You get like 15 years
really
for smoking cannabis on the street and all this kind of stuff. Well,
that's not a very good idea. I don't think you should do that anywhere.
Well, I was. Do you know what? I was leaving one person's apartment and going to another, which was about 200 yards away.
No,
Do you see what I mean?
Yeah.
And so I, foolishly sort of. Anyway, it's nothing we should talk about.
No.
Listen, we were talking earlier about phone boxes, right?
Yeah, we were. Yeah.
Now, don't think it's a good idea to turn abandoned phone boxes into libraries?
Yeah, I'm not. I mean, I only had sort of one eye on the television when this was on. So how do you manage to do that? They're quite small.
Yeah. No, it's quite simple. It's absolutely simple. Yeah. They don't store a lot of books. What they do
they
is
can't, can they?
No, they can't. But what they do is it's a communication exchange place for people who want to bring the books in after they've read them, leave them in the phone box, and take one somebody else has left and do it like that.
Oh, I see.
And they've built another a Doctor Who style police box next to the phone box. So it's quite a sizable library now.
Oh, okay.
And then suddenly it's demand for, where's your planning permission?
Right. And where's all this going on?
This is all going on in a little place in Cambridgeshire, South Cambridgeshire. Now, there's been a problem for a while about what to do with phone boxes now that nobody uses them. Because nobody uses them. When was the last time you used a public phone?
I can't remember.
20 years ago?
Well, I'll tell you when I used one was when I was in America, actually, and I was at an airport.
Right.
And I didn't want to use my mobile phone. So
sure,
I
because it would have been very costly.
So I used a payphone with my credit card.
Right, I see, yeah.
Just to ring somebody in the UK to say I was, on my way back.
Yeah, good idea. Yeah, okay. Well,
but, I mean, in this country, I can't remember the last time I used a phone.
I wouldn't know how to use a public
phone.
Similar,
I mean, same with hotels. I was in a hotel not that long ago. And I was going to call somebody, and I almost went to use the hotel phone.
Right.
And I thought, actually, what am I thinking of? It's ridiculous.
Exactly. Yeah,
crazy.
You pick up the phone by the bedside, say, I'm dialing an outside line. Yeah. Well, we've all fallen foul of that over the years, haven't we? The bill's there. But do you know what? I think that these abandoned phone boxes, which are very distinctive, I think they should be used as chapels.
Chapels?
Yeah, I do, for people to...
Well, like one-person chapels?
Yes, I do, yeah, I do.
How would that work, then?
Well, I mean, I'm not a Catholic, but I have worshipped in Catholic
churches. You're a good
churches.
Christian, though?
A good Christian.
Have you?
I'm a good Christian. Yes, I have, yeah.
Why have you worshipped in Catholic churches?
Just to see what the experience was like, And so...
Like where? Like what sort of Catholic churches?
In Gosport, actually.
Really?
Yeah, I go to the Catholic church in Gosport sometimes on a Sunday morning. Yeah. And
goodness.
And you see the old confessional boxes, right? Which are quite weird, really, when you think about it.
Confession is very weird.
They go back 1,000 years.
Yeah.
And I just wondered whether these could be multi-dominational places of worship.
Well, what would you do? Go in, shut the door,
and say a prayer?
Get down on your knees?
No, you wouldn't get down on your knees. Why would you want to do that? You don't have to get down on your knees.
Normally when you pray, you go down on your knees.
No, you don't have to at all.
Well, you do in a Catholic church.
Well,
and you do in Islam.
But you don't have to. It could be like a praying box.
You pray standing up.
Yeah, why not? You can pray when you're on a bus.
Yeah.
You can pray when you're actually...
Yeah, but if you're generally going into a place of worship,
yes.
You have to do what they expect you to do.
Yeah, but I mean, all right, we'll put a seat in there then, so it looks a bit like a confessional box or something like that. Or, if you're right, you could have a sort of a level of foot off the ground, you could kneel on it or something like that.
Right.
I mean, for instance, I think I've told you this before, when we did the Pope's visit to Britain in the very early 80s...
Right.
Colin Myler, who became a very successful journalist. In fact, he was the last editor of the News of the World when they closed it down.
Yeah.
And he's now the executive on the New York Daily News, I think
he's just left there, actually. Someone was telling me the other day.
Oh, right, okay.
I'm not sure what he's doing now, but
anyway,
I think he had a string of retirement homes as well.
Oh, did he?
Yeah.
Oh, he went into that sort of business.
He's a bit like you. He went into this kind of side business and started to make a fortune.
All right, good for him.
Well, if you think preying on elderly people is a good thing, I mean, sorry.
No, providing a facility for a community.
Facility for older people to go and
die. Our old mate Norman Luck, he used to have places like that.
He did, yeah.
And the only reason he set them up was because he used to like Rogerising all the nurses who were staffing his homes.
Indeed.
But anyway, to get back to what I was saying. Yeah. Colin and I were standing next to each other at Heaton Park, I think it was, in Manchester, when the papal helicopter landed. Yeah. And as the door opened and the pontiff stepped out of the plane, Colin fell to his knees, literally.
Well, he was a very devout Catholic.
And gave it the old, Hail Mary.
So he used to go to church every day.
Every day?
Every day. When he was news editor of the Today newspaper, which I worked for, he used to go out for lunch every day and go to church.
Every day? Yep. Well, I mean, what, to
pray.
Oh, I see. Okay, to say prayers.
Yeah, to say prayers. He never went out for a drink. He never went out for anything to eat.
He did take a drink though.
Oh, he did, but he went to church every single day.
One time, I shared a table with him at Wembley for England International. Right. In fact, I think it was the inaugural game at Wembley against the Germans. I think it was, and we were reminiscing over old times and all that kind of stuff. But I just think that it would be great to give people the opportunity to pursue their faith on a community basis.
Yeah,
you see what I mean?
It's not really a community basis if you do it on your own, though, is it?
No, but it is having the availability of somewhere to go into.
Yeah.
I mean, a church is a big place.
Yeah.
And to build churches... We don't
and a lot
build
of churches during the day are closed as well.
Yeah, exactly.
Can't get in there.
So I think phone boxes should be converted into one-person churches. That's what I think.
Oh, okay.
Abandoned phone boxes.
All right. I don't think it's going to work that way.
Or libraries. Libraries is a good idea, but not everybody wants a library in the street. You know what I mean?
Might turn it into like a coffee-making machine.
What do you want to do that for?
Well, because then you can just go and get coffee, walk away.
Because somebody's got to maintain it and keep it.
Yeah,
whereas if it is a solace environment, solace being on your own, then you don't need to maintain it. What are you laughing at?
Typical of you to want something where you can go on your own.
Why not? Why not? People pray in private. They like to.
No.
You don't have any spiritual feeling. That's your problem.
Yeah, I was raised in a very religious way, actually.
You were raised in a weirdo household,
which
mate.
Which is why I have very little time for it. Yeah. How about this from Dave in Belfast? Roses are red, violets are blue. If you fancy old Porky, you've been sniffing the glue. This is Talk Sport. Porkyvision coming up. Crocodile Shoes is a theme song to Crocodile Shoes, not Spender.
Yeah, but he played Spender in Crocodile Shoes, didn't he? Well, I think so.
I mean, you're the expert.
No,
you're the guy.
Spender was a different series, yeah.
This is Talk Sport. We are the two mics. That music, of course, signifies only one thing, and that is that Porkyvision is upon us.
Yeah,
and,
it is.
Always a delight and always a surprise what you're actually going to talk about. So what have you got for us this week?
Now, we're going to talk about Happy Valley, right?
Yes.
Now, I gave you some hints early in the show. In the north of England, I do love the architecture and the character of these northern towns. I'm a northern boy.
And what's Happy Valley all about, though?
Well, Happy Valley's based in Yorkshire, and it's somewhere like Hebden Bridge or Sowerby or somewhere like that. One of these small Yorkshire towns, which are beautiful in their architecture and the intimacy with the community and all that kind of stuff, okay?
Yes.
Now, it stars Sarah Lancaster, right?
Yeah.
And she's a fantastic actress.
She used to be in Coronation Street, didn't she?
Well, I'm going to tell you about that in a minute. She's a fantastic actress, and she won an award for the first series of 6 episodes of this, and it is brilliant, and it's such a dark plot. It's unbelievable. But what is really interesting is that Sarah Lancaster, you're right, used to be in Coronation Street. She's in it. But the villain in this is Tommy Lee.
Tommy Lee Jones.
No. The villain's name in the show is Tommy Lee Royce.
Okay,
and he's jailed for the rape and murder of a woman tracked down by Sarah Lancaster in the last series. Okay,
is she a police officer then?
Yes, she's a police officer.
Okay.
Yeah, well, you must know she's a police officer.
I don't know any of this.
Well, everybody else does.
I've never seen it.
Everybody else does. Now, the point is, he was also this Tommy Lee Royce. I can't remember what's his real name.
I don't know.
What's his real name?
I've no idea.
Well, he's the actor who was recently in Tolstoy. He was the prince.
Tolstoy
in War and Peace.
Oh yeah,
he was the prince in War and Peace.
Wasn't he the guy from Poldark?
No.
Oh, no,
Nothing to do with that.
I don't know who he is.
This guy was the leading character and the heartthrob fella in War and Peace.
Okay.
He was also in Grantchester, where he was the vicar.
Okay.
But he's now the villain, Tommy Lee Royce. And he's a brilliant actor because the padre goes into his cell and says, your mum's been found dead, and he starts crying. And it always amazes me how actors manage to actually bring tears to their eyes, and his eyes went all red and tears poured down his face. I thought, wow, how would I make myself cry in that situation? How would you make yourself cry?
I've never really tried to make myself cry.
Well, if you had to make yourself cry because you're an actor, you'd have to think of something really awful.
About something sad.
Something sad
Probably
and awful.
Something that you would remember from your past.
Well, maybe, or something like that. But anyway, it's brilliant. Now,
all I've got in front of me here are all the new characters. I haven't got any of the old characters, so I can't tell you who this
Well,
Royce
Tommy
plays.
Lee Royce was in the...
He's not a new character.
What do you mean?
Well, all I've got is the new characters.
Oh,
here.
I see. Yeah, okay.
So
yeah,
he's not one of them.
All right. Well, don't even worry about it. Hang on, I'll find out what his name is. I've got a bit of paper here.
Okay.
I've got a picture of him.
Right.
It's James Norton.
Okay.
His name is James Norton, the actor James Norton. Okay.
Right.
He's brilliant. But there are so many subplots in this. Now, what's happened is, she has gone and found a body in a garage, right?
Yeah.
Routine search after somebody,
reported it.
Reported a horrible smell and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Usual thing, decaying body. The body she found in the garage is the mother of Tommy Lee Royce.
And he's in prison already?
He's in prison already.
Okay.
For the rape and murder of a woman, okay?
Yeah.
But she tracked him down.
Okay.
But the thing is, it's so complicated, because Tommy Lee Royce, one of the rapes that he undertook was of Sarah Lancaster's daughter.
Oh, God.
Who then went and committed suicide.
Blimey.
So there
sounds a bit miserable.
So there is a child. It is. It's very dark. So there's a child.
Right.
There's a child which is the product of the rape that Tommy Lee Royce inflicted upon Sarah Lancaster's daughter.
Okay.
So Lancaster...
she's Sarah Lancaster's granddaughter.
That's right.
Yeah.
And Sarah Lancaster is... no, I think it's a little boy, actually. Sorry, Sarah Lancaster is bringing the boy up, okay? Bringing the boy up.
Grandson.
Yeah. Grandson. She's bringing the boy up.
Right.
But... Tommy Lee Royce's...
That makes me feel old. I remember when Sarah Lancaster was kind of a young woman in Coronation Street.
Right. But Tommy Lee Royce's mother, right?
Yeah.
The woman who's now been found dead, was threatened in the street by Sarah Lancaster.
Was she?
When she tried to approach the grandson.
Right.
Because she feels she's also the grandmother. You see what I mean?
Oh, I see what you mean, yeah.
Because she's the mother of Tommy Lee Royce, the villain who raped the work.
So she's been confronted in the street by this woman who she then later finds murdered.
Exactly.
So clearly not a suspect.
She is a suspect.
But she's found her, though.
Yeah. But they think that could be a clever plot because also she's been horribly mutilated with a bottle.
Oh dear.
The poor woman.
Blimey.
And they say,
sure, this is before the water show.
Oh yeah. And they say women do this to other women to try and make the police think it was a man attacking her and all that.
Yeah.
Right now, what happens then is, Sarah Lancaster also left this woman a message saying, you stay away from my grandson or else you'll be in trouble. On the answering machine.
Right.
So now the cops are saying, you didn't. Oh, no, I didn't.
Okay.
So it's all very dark.
So they're going to suspend her or something?
Going to suspend her.
Yeah.
No. She's now got to be... she's now had to account for her movements when this woman was murdered. Right. She's done that.
Has she got an alibi?
She got an alibi, but they've now found that it could be a serial killer at large, but she's got to account for her movements now for the other two killings in the serial killing chain, you see what I mean? Yeah. So it gets more deep. But the best part of the plot without a shadow of a doubt, is a detective that she works with at the cop shop has been having an affair with another woman.
Hey?
Right? A detective.
A man detective.
A man detective who has a family, is a normal family man, but is a sort of failed detective, he's still a detective constable, is having an affair with another woman.
Right.
The other woman turns up at his house.
She's not a police officer.
She's not a police officer. Okay. She is, in fact, a beauty consultant who works in a big store in
wherever
Howden Bridge or whatever, right?
Yeah, okay.
And she hasn't seen him for 3 weeks, so she's parked outside his house in the car, sends him a note saying, please come out and see me now, otherwise I'm going to knock on your door and tell your wife, right?
Oh, God.
So he comes out all panic-stricken, and he says, and she says, you haven't contacted me for 3 weeks. And then he tells her it's all over.
Right.
You know what she does then?
Goes mad.
This is the most evil part. It's fantastic.
Right.
She then says, all right, well, look, I've got some things I've got to give you back. Let's meet on neutral ground, meet you in this pub high up on the hills and the moors. Right. This is what I love about the architecture.
Okay.
So they drive into this windy pub, right? She's already in there. Right. He parks his car, walks across an empty car park into the pub, and then the camera's focused on this pint of beer on the table, which she's bought for him, and said, I bought
poisoned?
Well, hang on, you're way ahead of yourself. She said, I bought your favourite beer, I've just got myself a lemonade because I've got to drive, And he said, and she said, here's your tie and here's your socks that you left, and she actually left his warrant card, his, very important piece. And you're thinking, why is she being so generous?
Yeah.
Anyway, he finishes his pint of beer and starts feeling woozy and ill. Guess what she's done?
She's drugged him.
She's spiked his drink.
Yeah.
She says to the barmaid, he's not well, takes him outside, puts him in his car, she drives his car. He wakes up in a hotel room naked.
Oh, dear.
Right? No. Yeah, exactly, yeah. No, it's brilliant.
Hopefully not face down.
Yes, face down.
No.
Yes.
Really?
Yes.
I know where this is going.
Right. Anyway. So
next thing, a guardsman enters the room, right?
No.
That was another movie.
So 2 days later, when he's still trying to work out why was he found naked?
Tied up?
No, he wasn't even tied up. Right. Anyway, she then rings him and says, "Oh, it's Janet from Forensics."
Oh yeah,
because the wife answers the phone. She's got his home telephone number. And then
so he makes it home.
Yeah, sorry,
he's made it home.
Makes it home eventually, and can't account to his wife where he is. He just says, he's on the new investigation. He was so tired, he slept over at the cop shop and all this kind of stuff. You know what I mean?
Right.
Anyway, she then says, "I've sent you a text." She sends a text. The text contains pictures of him dressed in women's outfits.
Oh dear.
Overlooking pornographic magazines. And doing things that you shouldn't do,
right?
Particularly when people are taking pictures of you, which can be distributed widely.
Oh dear!
And then she says,
"So she stitched him up like a kipper."
Yes, she says, "Oh, by the way, while you were knocked out, she said I downloaded your whole contacts book, your work colleagues, your wife, your children, your family, your mother." And he said,
nasty piece of work.
She said that picture's going to everybody, unless
Unless what?
Oh, she wants to blackmail him for £1,000 a month now.
Oh, she wants money.
Oh yeah. Well, she said, "I'm going to take you to the cleaners and all that." So he's in a nightmare situation.
Hell hath no fury.
Oh, it's absolutely brilliant.
Wow.
But meanwhile...
People are saying it's Sarah Lancaster, by the way.
Yeah, it is. What did I say?
You said Lancashire, I think.
Oh, Sarah Lancaster, that's right, yeah. Meanwhile, old Tommy Lee Royce, the nastiest man in the world, who's in prison, has been told his mother's died, is convinced that Sarah Lancaster has killed her mother. Right. You know how all these, really evil people, like the Yorkshire Ripper and all that, they attract, like, nutter women who always want to marry them and all this kind of stuff.
Right.
So Tommy Lee Royce gets hold of one of them to come into the prison to see him, tells her the sob story and says that copper murdered my mum, and then brainwashes the girl to go out into the world and murder the copper.
Blimey.
So Sarah Lancaster's now got a stalker, a mad woman who thinks she's in love with the villainous Tommy Lee Royce, who is now determined to kill Sarah Lancaster, right? How about that?
Sounds great.
I mean, it's fantastic. Yeah. Now, can I tell you the other thing? Within the whole of that programme, I noted this. Sarah Lancaster used to be Raquel in Coronation Street.
Yes.
The girl who was the HR cop who asked her, about the menacing phone calls she sent to the other, used to be Becky in Coronation Street.
Okay.
Tommy Lee Royce was in Tolstoy. The beauty counter lover who's blackmailing the policeman used to be... the detective inspector in Scott and Bailey.
Okay.
Right?
Right. You liked that show?
I liked it very much.
Yeah.
The cop who's being blackmailed and having the affair was Kevin, the butler, in Downton Abbey.
Really?
He was Mr.
The guy that everybody hated?
He was Mr. Molesley, who was the butler.
And the one that ended up going to be the teacher,
Yes, that's right. The butler to the Dowager.
He's a bit old to be dressing up as a woman and getting into porn and all that sort of thing.
Well, he didn't dress up as a woman. She put women's clothes on him,
he was having an
didn't she?
affair, though, wasn't he?
Yeah, he had an affair, yeah. Now, there's also a guy comes into the life of Sarah Lancaster's sister. It's all a bit sinister. She's got a sister who used to be a heroin addict and all this kind of stuff, you know what I mean? And the sister meets this guy in town because he's had a divorce and moved back to town, right? She struck up a friendship with him. He's a very sinister character. He's going to come into the plot somewhere.
Yeah.
But he was the TV repairman in an episode of Heartbeat.
Right.
And you can only remember people from their previous characters. When he was the TV repairman in Heartbeat, he'd never repaired any tellies. Right. He used to go to all these people's homes and Rogerise the wives while the husbands were at work.
Dear me.
Because only rich people had tellies in those days, because Heartbeat was in the 1960s. Right. So he used to have regular contacts and go and reper and service televisions, but he used to repair and service the wives of the houses.
I see what you mean.
He was a right old, leg-over merchant.
Sounds like a plot of a porn film.
And finally, another character in Happy Valley, who is the wife of the policeman who's being blackmailed. Guess what?
What?
It's Hayley from Coronation Street.
Really? I don't think I'd recognise any of these people apart from Sarah Lancashire.
It's Hayley. It's unbelievable.
Yeah.
It's utterly unbelievable.
Amazing.
But menacing plot.
So it sounds good.
And
so this was just the first episode?
First episode.
Yeah.
Now, it only happened the night before last, so I'm really sorry if anybody's put it on their old Skybox and they want to watch it before the weekend.
Well, there's no ending yet, so you can't give it away, can you?
Oh, well, I've told you all about the first episode, and the first episode ends with the crazy woman sent by Tommy Lee Royce staring through the window of the lounge of Sarah Lancaster, vowing to kill her and all this kind of stuff.
God.
You know what I mean?
Well, it sounds very enthralling.
Oh, it's fantastic. It's utterly fantastic, I'm telling you.
Well, I look forward to
brilliant
an update.
stuff.
I
Can't wait for the next episode.
An update on that.
And anybody who hasn't seen the first episode, go on to, what's it called? Catch Up or something?
Yeah, it's on ITV, is it? Or
no,
BBC?
It's on BBC.
Oh, well, your iPlayer then. BBC iPlayer.
iPlayer or Catch Up or something like that.
Yeah.
And believe me, this is worth watching.
Okay.
That woman, Sarah Lancaster, she is an award-winning actress.
Yeah.
Pity she's married to an executive from the BBC, really, isn't it?
Well, I guess that might have something to do with her being starring in this particular role.
No, I don't think it is. I think she's there totally on merit.
Really?
Sure. I think I think chap she's married to is like head of BBC North or something.
Yeah.
Or I think he was, but he's not now. I think his name's Peter Salmon, isn't it?
I think he is.
Yeah, that's right. Absolutely. Right. But I mean, no, he can't have any influence on making programmes or anything.
Absolutely not.
No,
it doesn't work
serious.
like that. No.
Well, she's an award-winning actress.
Yes, of course.
She used to be Raquel in Coronation Street many years ago.
You said.
Before she even met this chap. So I'm not insinuating that whatsoever.
No, okay. Anyway, that was Porkyvision.
Yeah.
Some will say possibly the best one ever.
I would say so.
This is
definitely.
Talk Sport.
In the details very often is the beauty. When all these little things come together, it's the ultimate feeling of completeness.
The Volvo V40R design with adaptive digital display, illuminated gear shift and 17-inch diamond-cut alloys. Now from just $259 a month, including maintenance, with Volvo Car Leasing, with an initial rental of £259.
4-year personal contract hire agreement. Offer ends March 31st. Subject to status. Mileage and return conditions apply. Rental includes optional maintenance covering routine servicing, tyres, replacement parts and repair due to fair wear and tear. Visit volvocars.co.uk for more details.
Book a test drive today at your nearest Volvo showroom. The Volvo V40R design. Life is in the details.
I know. The state pension is changing.
I know. How much you get will still depend on your national insurance record. And don't forget you may still have a private pension to consider too.
I know. I'll be able to see how much I'm likely to receive and understand what I can do to improve my state pension.
I know. If you reach state pension age on or after the 6th of April 2016, you'll be part of the new scheme.
Make sure you know the facts about the new state pension. Visit gov.uk/yourstatepension for more information.
If you fancy a flutter on the football, a gamble on the golf, a double on the darts, or a treble on the tennis, you're in luck. Get closer to the action every weekend with Betway's Man in the Know on the Weekend Sports Breakfast with Georgie Bingham and Mickey Quinn. Bringing you all the form on the football, the going at Goodwood, the tries at Twickenham and the overs at the Oval. Every Saturday and Sunday morning from 7 on Talk Sport. With Betway. For the latest offers, head to betway.com.
Talk Sport.
Kick it.
On DAB, digital radio and 1089 and 1053 AM.
Just football.
Energise your radio. Talk Sport.
This is Talk Sport. We are the two mics. That was Porkyvision. Quite a lot of very complimentary tweets coming in for you, I have to say. Eamon the Villa fan says on the text, 81089, tell Porky to calm down with all this Rogerisation before he has a coronary. Here's one from Lord Rallo. It says, great Porkyvision. I'm set to go on Netflix and catch up on episodes of Happy Valley.
You got to.
Great review, Porkmeister. Yeah. I wonder if it's on Netflix, because maybe the first series is on Netflix.
Oh, yeah, I see what you mean.
I've never heard of it.
It's brilliant.
I might even try and look at it as well.
It's brilliant television.
Patrick says, best Porkyvision ever, by far, gripping, riveting, blithering genius.
Absolutely.
TV guide.
You're absolutely right. And I tell you what I would have got round to if we'd had a little bit more time, so I might as well tell you now.
Yeah.
The Coronation Street situation involves a woman called Carla Connor.
Carla Connor.
Right. And the actress who plays her is just the most beautiful woman on TV.
Really?
Yeah, she looks a bit
more
like...
than the one that you talked about from that, what was it, something in Bailey? What was it?
Oh, Scott and Bailey.
Yeah,
she was a lovely woman.
Saran Jones.
Yeah.
I thought she was your favourite.
No, well, she's very impactful woman, but so is Carla Connor.
Yeah.
And I don't know who Carla Connor's played by. I don't know her name, but she looks like Anuska Hempel. Do you remember how beautiful Anuska Hempel was?
I do remember her. Yeah. She's a bit sort of a hippie.
Yeah, but she looks like her with high cheekbones. And Carla Connor, in the latest episode that I've seen, right, I'm a week or two behind.
Is that the one you're talking about?
That's her. What's her name?
Carla Connor.
Yes, I know it's Carla Connor. That's the name of the character.
Oh,
What's
I
the name
see.
of the actress? You
Well, that was
idiot?
what I looked up. Alison King.
Alison King, that's her, yeah. Now, the thing is, this is amazing.
I must say, I don't share your view of her at all.
Oh, no. What, you don't think she's beautiful?
Not really, no.
Oh, I do. I think she's very glamorous.
She looks a bit kind of nailed together.
No.
To be honest.
No.
Looks like she's had a bit of work done.
No, I don't think so. I think she's only about in her early 30s or something. Anyway, she has just been flung out of a car by a couple of villains who, first of all, tried to rob the bistro, Nick's Bistro.
Right.
And then when they found there's no money in there...
She's 42, by the way.
42, is she, yeah. That's funny, because she just had a baby, actually. It's quite old to have a baby, isn't it, 42?
No, I mean, it can happen.
So, yeah. But anyway, what I was going to say is, when they found there was no...
Is this an extended Porkyvision you're doing
Well,
now?
it's not really, because this is different. This is what I'm going to tell you about. When they found out that there was no money in the...
How about
that? Who's that?
That's her.
Oh, that's Alison King.
Yes.
Is that a few years ago? Or?
I think so, yeah.
That's Alison King in a bikini, folks, who was just showing me on his tab. Now, what I was going to say is, so she gets flung out the car because they robbed her bag when they found there was no money in the bistro, right? And she dives in the car to try and rescue it, and they fling her out. Bang! She's now having emergency surgery, for internal bleeding.
Okay.
Now, the point is, Ms. Connor...
Is this like an extended Porkyvision?
No. This is a lesson in life.
Okay.
Ms. Connor makes a bad choice of men. Let me tell you in sequence.
Yeah.
When she first came into the series...
Easily done, that.
Yeah, when she came into the series, it was her husband who bought the Knicker Factory Underworld, right?
Yeah.
But he died in a car crash when he had a kidnapped woman in the boot of the car.
Right.
So he was, he was his mistress.
It's starting to confuse me now. There's too many plot lines for me to follow.
No, but he was fleeing, but he crashed the car and killed himself, right? So that was husband number one. Husband number two...
Well, this is meant to be a lesson in life. This is Porkyvision you're doing now.
No, this is lesson in life.
Well, get on with it.
Husband number two, first of all, beat up and killed her boyfriend.
Right.
Then made himself her boyfriend. And then when she found out that he'd beat up the previous boyfriend... he tied her to a chair and set fire to her in the factory, OK? So that was husband number two.
I don't know why that's funny, but carry on.
Exactly, yeah. Right, OK?
Yeah.
She got over that.
Well, which bit of this is a lesson in life?
Well, husband number three...
Yeah.
When she said, I'm not sure we should go ahead with our marriage, beat her up and raped her, and then went out and got an Indian...
These shows you watch are very violent.
I know. Went out and got an
no
Indian...
wonder you're always in a state when you get in here.
Went out and got an Indian takeaway and came back and said, why don't you want the takeaway? She said, you've just raped me.
Right.
He said, no, I haven't, and all this kind of stuff.
It's a terrible theme, this.
And now she's been, bashed up and thrown out of a car and internal bleeding. Yeah. So, and that's because...
Oh, well, she's looking a bit rough.
The guy she was going to marry, who is Nick of Nick's Bistro, is a wimp.
Right.
So she decided to Rogerise the chef instead.
Okay.
And she's worried people will find out.
Yeah, well, I would be worried as well.
Anyway, that's a lesson in life.
So what's the lesson in life then?
Well, you've got to pick your partners with a bit more choice and a bit more care and a bit more consideration. Old Carla Canna.
Yeah.
Carla Canna. My name's Carla Canna, and I run Underworld.
Have you ever made the wrong choice in that department?
Well, we all make wrong choices sometimes, don't we?
No, but I mean, got yourself involved with somebody and then realise it was a very bad idea. You don't have to give any names away.
I got involved with a woman once in Belfast, actually.
Oh, yeah.
When I was over
there.
It's
always tricky over there.
Yeah, it is always tricky, yeah. I was there for quite a long time.
Yeah.
And
dodging petrol bombs.
Dodging the petrol bombs down Lower Falls Road, as I remind people all the time, yeah. And I'd taken this one out a couple of times, And
was she a local secretary?
No, she wasn't. No, she was a local woman, though.
Well, from where, though? Where did you meet her?
Well, this is what I'm about to say to you. I met her in the Copacabana Club, which is at the top of the hotel, the most bombed hotel in the world.
Oh, I know the one, yeah.
Keep forgetting the name.
The Europa.
Europa, that's the Europa, that's the one, yeah. And it was only on the second or third date,
Because, I mean, you might have been wary there, because, I mean...
Oh, you have to be very wary.
Not to be joking, but, I mean, English journalists were kind of
you have to be very careful.
for infiltration from certain paramilitary groups.
Oh, you have to be very careful indeed. Yeah. And it was only on the second or third date I found out that she was a widow.
A widow?
A widow.
How old was she?
About 28.
I suppose a lot of widows over there at that time.
Well, there are some widows. And I said, oh, that's terribly sad. How did your husband die? And what are you laughing at?
Because I'm assuming you're going to say he was shot in the head by the IRA or something.
Well, it was worse than that. He was a... I'm not sure I should be telling this story, actually, because, I mean, these people are probably still alive. But he was...
As long as you don't name me in it.
No, OK. He was, in fact, a prison officer.
Oh.
And they weren't very popular in Ireland in those days.
Yeah.
And he was actually killed in a drive-by shooting.
Blimey.
There was a bar where prison officers all gathered, you know what I mean, after work and all that kind of stuff.
Right.
And somebody went past in Chicago style,
right.
bam, 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 bam.
Right.
And unfortunately, cop for it. I'm
so
afraid.
was he targeted then, or was he just accidentally killed?
Well, he was in the place that was targeted,
right.
so I don't think he was individually targeted.
Right.
I think as a group they were, you see what I mean?
Yeah.
By, one political faction railing against another.
Right.
But and so that made me a bit wary of things, you know what I mean? But no, the other thing is, you're absolutely right, in the Europa late at night, like we'd stay up till 2 and 3 in the morning, because you're often working till 10 or 11 o'clock. And you've got to remember, when the hunger strikes were on, the news of the announcement of another death always happened at 11 o'clock at night.
Yeah.
And the only way you found out was by the banging of the dustbin lids on the pavements from the estate, which was called the Divies Flats behind the Europa Hotel.
Yeah.
And the women used to come out and they used to get dustbin lids and bang them on the pavements.
Right.
And that meant that another hunger striker had died. It was literally the jungle, what you call it?
Just the communication.
That kind of stuff. And an hour later, you'd get an official announcement from the government, or the Northern Ireland office, that a hunger striker died. And it was all very tense and all that. So you're always around and compos mentis till about 12.
Right.
So once the paper had gone away, at sort of 1 o'clock or something, then you get stuck into a bit of the old grog.
Yeah.
Licensing hours in Ireland, very liberal.
Yeah.
And do you know what? At about 2 in the morning...
Unlike everything else.
Yeah, exactly. About 2 o'clock in the morning, some very strange characters would drift into the bar. I mean it.
Yeah.
You had no idea whether they'd come from the loyalist side of the divide, whether they'd come from the Provo side of the divide. You had no idea if they were MI6.
Yeah.
You had no idea if they were police special branch. You had no idea who they were. The very strange characters who'd never identified themselves would come in.
It's quite a fascinating place, actually.
And they would start trying to chat to you. And, when you'd had a few sherbets and all that. And they were just after information. And you had no idea what their background was. And eventually you got very wise to it and had to be very careful talking to strangers in Ireland because you didn't know whether you were setting people up or anything. You know what I mean?
No, exactly.
Yeah, it was a weird old place to work.
I mean, I remember when I went over there and did some work, I was told, even in those days, back in the sort of late 90s, I suppose, still not to take black cabs, because black cabs were still thought to be being run by the IRA.
Oh, they were. The whole things were. I mean, there's that shocking incident of the 2 soldiers who got too close to a funeral. One of them had just arrived there, and the other guy was experienced. Said, "Come on, I'll show you one of the funeral parades." And they were spotted by a group of black cab drivers, and they suspected that they shouldn't have been at the parade, and they were boxed in, and the soldiers were dragged out of the car and were mercilessly killed. It was a shocking event.
Yeah, I remember.
In fact, the father of one of them lived in Carshalton in Surrey, near where I used to live. It was terrible. They were bad days, and you have to say, thank God, things have got themselves straightened out in Northern Ireland.
They have indeed. This is Talk Sport. We are the 2 mics.
Look at the light! Don't forget to come back tomorrow for another sparkling, as fizzy as a bottle of champagne podcast from the 2 mics. Roses are red, violets are blue. I love lingerie when it's adorned on you.
Roses are red, violets are blue. Table for 1, please, not 2. Roses are red, violets are blue. If you fancy old Porky, you've been sniffing the glue.
Yahoo!
If you love the 2 Mics podcast, you'll love the live show. Weekday overnights from 1am on DAB Digital Radio and 1089 and 1053 AM and via the TalkSport app. TalkSport, your Premier League station with exclusive commentaries every weekend.
What an absolute corker!
TalkSport.
Not bad for a pair of old gits.